Welcome to the world center of racing for what could very well be the final chance in 2020 to get the elusive Daytona 500 victory. Just before the NASCAR train rolls into Vegas, the simulators, mental health, give us one last hurrah here at Daytona. With $20 up for grabs, there's a chance for some quick and easy money to be made for whoever comes out on top today. It's time to count down to the green here on the Global SimRacing Channel. My name is Ryan Jones, alongside me is Stefan Schlacker, and Sean Ambrose is directly raced with the help of cameras provided by Dougie Beard. And Stefan, I should say, it's Daytona always produces fantastic racing, and this year it's been pretty clean across all the regions, really, in terms of lots of green flag runs, and I'm expecting, with the names you got in here today, some more of that today.
Yeah, Ryan, you're most definitely right there. Daytona always provides great racing, no matter what car you use in the NASCAR kind of things. But these 2.66 miles, they're always going to produce great racing, especially because it is rather tight for these extremely fast speeds these cars, especially the Cup cars, will reach around this travel with the banking of those 31 degrees. A lot of excitement will be created, especially if they're coming up 3 wide to a lap car. That's always going to produce a lot of excitement. Obviously, pack racing going to be your main thing here. Maybe we will see a big one here today. It's never impossible, but I would say, Jonesy, that most definitely we're going to see an extremely clean race.
Yeah, hopefully, and of course, we've got a spare car or a faster pair available for these guys today as well, which means should we see one of those infamous big ones at any stage, a lot of the drivers involved, barring any other incident prior, should be able to come down a pit road and get themselves into a spare car, which means that the chances of us being reduced to a dozen cars in this race isn't particularly likely, which is good because we've got about 25 drivers lined up for this one, which is a nice good number too as well. For racing here, too many and you see those big crashes too often, too little, and you end up with no runs being generated. But this is right in that Goldilocks zone, let's call it, right in the middle, where we should see plenty of runs being formed, both lines able to form up nicely, but not too many cars to make it crazy out there.
And the good thing is about the package these Cup cars are running is that you can actually have cars driving on the high line and they will actually be competitive, especially if they can form up those 3-4 cars up there on the top. We will most definitely see them be able to make the moves and maybe even be able to get 2 cars ahead of the leader of the low line and run down there and take over that lead again. But obviously the big play also comes in with the fuel strategy there, because if you're running as the first car in line, you're going to use a lot of more fuel than those guys in the back.
That fuel strategy is going to be important too. 200 laps ahead of us, got to make sure you pit 3 times in this race. Tank can go about 33 laps, and as I say that, I realise that 3 times is a bit short. If you pit 3 times in this race, you won't make it to the end.
Well,
we usually, yeah.
Well, the thing is, you can pit 3 times, but you're probably going to need a tanker that refuels you while on the go.
Yeah, so we usually see drivers pit about 35, 38 laps into the sim. Obviously, there's drivers in the back and go a long way with their fuel, because you're running rounds, you know, not full throttle, half throttle, 3/4, because that the slipstream of the pack in front of the draft is just pulling you along nicely. It's a massive hole in the air for you to tuck into and just ride around. And pit road here is extremely difficult too. It's probably the biggest wash-off in terms of speed that we visit on the NASCAR calendar, coming down from 200 miles an hour plus all the way down to pit road speed limit. And you got to do it with the smallest brakes available to you as well, because obviously they don't put the big brakes on these cars, because other than pit road you don't need them.
I mean, it's not only that, but these Cup cars or the NASCAR cars in general. They're only having steel brakes or normal road car brakes. That's all they have available, braking from these neck braking speeds. So they really have to be on their toes when they enter the pit lane again, because you most definitely ain't gonna win the race down there, but you can lose it very well down there if you have some problems entering the pit lane.
Certainly, and qualifying just about getting underway here today for this race. 2-lap solo qualifying for these drivers, which is relatively or extremely straightforward as well, because it means that all you've got to do is head out on track and hold it flat, Stefan, and talk us through the line that they should be taking here for their outlap and their first lap to wind themselves up for that final attempt.
Well, most definitely you're gonna see these cars go on their outland and on their first lap all the way to the wall. They're gonna ride that wall as closely as they dare, just a couple of inches away from it, and then on that last lap they're most definitely gonna go all the way down to that yellow line and hold that one as best as possible with as little a steering wheel input as possible, and only then you're able to scrub off as little speed as possible and get the fastest time. But obviously, some people can do it better, some people can do it a little bit worse, and those few inches that you move off the yellow line and have to turn your wheel that little bit more to get back onto that yellow line, that is already gonna cost you a tenth, not that much probably, but more like a hundredth or half of, or like 5,000 of a second, and that can mean the difference between being first and being just seventh.
Certainly, some drivers are smoother with their steering input, and that makes all the difference as well. And even coming out of pit road, the guys that get on the full throttle quicker coming out of the pit road, which used to be flat out, but with the new tire model isn't quite, their cars will get up to speed a bit nicer as well. So even back there, you can make a difference in terms of your overall lap time. But qualifying at Daytona is not that crucial. You can start at the back and find yourself at the front in about a couple laps, really. It doesn't have huge ramifications to your race. It's a 500-mile race as well, so there's plenty of time out there. A lot of the drivers too won't even want to be at the front because of the danger of a big incident like the big one or something, and so they'll want to stay at the back and just ride around and bide their time.
Yeah, you can play a lot of different strategies in a 500-mile race, as we're seeing the first few laps being posted. Steven Sims, the first one with, I think, actual last lap attempt, 49.113. It's gonna be good enough right now for Paul as he gets moved over by Dmitry Eniseev into first place. He goes with a 49.061.
Half a tenth is actually a pretty big margin here at Daytona that he's got at the moment. James Waterman's latest attempt puts him up into 5th place to 281. It is interesting to see. You do often find you get the same sort of drivers that are just really good at qualifying at tracks like this, and even though it seems so simple and just flat out, for whatever reason, they always seem to be at the front.
Yeah, you sure as hell ain't gonna find me up there. I don't know what I do wrong, but I'm always losing about 6, 7, sometimes even a full hundredth of a second to my teammates in qualifying, even though I'm running exactly the same line as they are.
One of the quirks of Speedway Racing, Brendan Jackson, currently about to come across the line to complete his final lap in qualifying. 49.154 only puts him 9th, albeit he is less than a tenth away from pole. That's how close it is here at Daytona. 13 drivers have set times so far. Sully Hams is a 49.365, and I believe that is his final attempt, and it is his final attempt of the session. Some very good drivers, though, in this. The two that come to mind for me are Garrett Maines, sporting the number 1 machine. Of course, most people will know if they have seen any top split racing. He's got an extremely high I rating on Oval. And Matt Danson, a little less well known, but he's an Aussie, that's probably why. But extremely talented. And let's go through the race details here, Stefan.
Yeah, for today, obviously 500-mile race. That's 200 laps if you prefer it that way. With this Daytona 500, obviously, as you have already seen, it's the NASCAR Cup cars. That means your Toyota Camry and that Chevrolet and Ford that I don't want to mention. Fixed setups it is for here today, so they're all going to be on the same baseline setup. Should make it quite interesting on how you're able to manage your temperatures. And because we like to have a little bit more fun out here, it's a one fast repair that all these guys get, so they will have their T-car waiting for them in the garage.
Let's go through the starting grid here for the Daytona 500. Brought to you by Sim Racers for mental health. Pole position goes to Dmitry Aniseev with a 49.061, half a tenth back to Everett Lane second. Steven Sims and Tim Matske line up off the second row of the grid with Jacob Prince and Joker Meyer starting 5th and 6th. Brian Tong starts 7th, Brad Newman alongside. The top 10 rounded out by Brendan Jackson and William Krushka.
The 6th row will be the row of the 2s. It's the 42 of Alexander Konya and Sully Hans, the 22 driver there. Number 22 driver going to be lining up in 12th place. James Waterman, 13th place for him. Matt Denson, 14th. Jay Collins will be lining up just inside the top 15 with Kelly Thompson in 16th. Ernie Williams Jr., 17th. Kiefer McKenna in 18th, Lawrence Shaughnessy in 19th, and running up to top 20 of this 26-car field will be the number 5 of Adam Coates.
21st will be Steve Rada with 22nd, Stephen Brown, Andrew Fono starting 23rd, Garrett Maines back in 24th, Dennis Moore 25th, Logan Hartman 26th. That is your field set for this race. 26 cars, a nice number to hopefully have a race with a lot of green flag running, because even if we do get a crash, it'll happen. If it does, drivers will go, that's not great, and they'll just sort of check themselves a bit. They'll get that spare car out and they'll realize they've got no more second chances left out there, and they'll just be a little bit cautious. But hopefully they don't need to do that. Hopefully we get a long way into this race. This is the 4th Daytona 500 I've had the pleasure to call this year. 3 of them had green flag stints from the start of the race, longer than 100 laps. So, like I said, it's been relatively clean so far overall in the service this year in the Daytona 500 attempts. Wouldn't surprise me to see more of the same today.
And one thing we can report is that 3 guys have chosen to get themselves an EOL. It's actually 4 drivers: James Waterman, Brian Tong, Matt Danson, and Sully Hunt. All will be lining up at the end of the field. There's still someone in the Brian Super. That is actually the 22 of Sully Hunt, who himself ran into the barrier on the out lap. Into the grass he went, had a little bit of a struggle there, but yeah, the number 22 of Sully Hunt's already with some damage.
I do see that to the right rear of his machine. I don't know how he's managed to do that, and the front right as well, so that car probably won't be handling particularly great when we get down to the green flag here, which will come in but a moment's time as pace car will dive down into the tri-oval, onto pit road, and the field will be released into the hands of Dmitry Aniseev of pole position. Everett Lane on the outside of the front row as a green flag flies, and we get ourselves underway at the world's centre of racing. And a very even start from both rows of the grid there. Aniseev only just had the lead across that start-finish line. The outside forming up very well here. A big push from Matske up top. Might try and clear Everett Lane, but through the corner, that inside line with a shorter route that are pulled back with help from the 26, Steven Sims.
Yeah, with how this pack works, you're gonna see a lot of cars dancing a little bit around in the draft, and one thing that I have just realized is that the track is still extremely green, which might be a little bit of an interesting fact come to the end of these stints. When the cars get light, the tires get a little bit slidey, and on the transition onto the banking of the turns, we might see a few cars losing their cars just because the track is still green on that outside.
Two drivers haven't taken the green flag, Logan Hartley, Garrett Maines. Garrett Maines just returning to the server now. Hopefully for their sake there's a double caution so they get a few laps back. Another factor of Daytona, if there is a caution, or when there are cautions, you often see drivers that are a lap down at some stage in the race fighting for the win by the end of the race because they get so many opportunities to get a wave around or a lucky dog or play strategy to get that lap back.
And the race ain't over until the checkered flag has been waved and you're driving home in your trailer. As there's a move to the outside from the number 6 of Steven Sims. He's gonna try to lead that outside train to victory, but it is not going to be this lap as he's still being scored in second place.
To victory on lap 3, Stefan.
Yes, of course, you gotta think big.
Can't win it on lap 1, but you can win it on lap 3, that's the saying, right?
Yes, sir!
Yeah.
And as pretty much expected with all the damage Sully Hans had from that hit with the wall, he is in pit lane, the 22, taking already his first class repair. As he's actually having troubles breaking pit lane. There he goes! Gets that free repair and the car is suddenly all clean.
Whee! To the outside, a sketchy move from Jacob Prince. That car got a little bit out of shape as he made that move across the front bumper of Steven Sims' machine. And now looking to the middle, going to be the 24 Everett Lane. Immediately decides that is not the best option and just tucks back in line with those two guys in front of him on the outside there. 39 down on the inside. That is the 99, sorry, of Brendan Jackson. Just trying to push Anisiev back ahead of this outside, but Steven Sims early on looking like the best pusher of these guys up in the pack. Doing a very nice job of helping out to an outside line, but of course the ebb and flow of a lap at a super speedway is that the outside is typically strong coming out of the corners. The inside will prevail through the middle of the corner, and that's why it is so tough to get a run going enough to clear, you know, either lane, because the other lane's got their strengths as well.
Yeah, and for those car fanboys out there, let's run you down the leaders of your favorite car make, that Toyota Camry right now. The first guy of those drivers, it's actually Dmitry Anisiev in first place. That yellow and red car you're seeing leading on the bottom side, that's your first place Toyota Camry. For the Ford's Mustang, that is Brandon Jackson right now, second in a line, the double nine on the bottom side, that is your first place Ford Mustang. And then with the Chevrolet, that is right now Jacob Prince, that number 9 there on the outside, leading car, that is your first place Chevrolet right now. So your 3 car makes in the top 3 of this race, 6 laps in.
Just watching the 42 here, Alexander Cognac just seems to be struggling a little bit to keep his car hooked up in a particularly straight line. Moving around a fair bit at the moment, probably just putting off some of those guys on the outside are starting to fall back now. When you're seeing the car on the inside move around as much... Hey.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Steven Sims there in the background. Big slide for him on the outside. Nearly collects the inside line and the wall there on his endeavors in his number 26. As you can also see on in the wide shot there, Garrett Maines, the number 25, sorry, number 1 actually. He is a lap count. He's moving right now a little bit down the track. There he goes now all the way to the wall. That should leave enough room for the guys in the middle.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. By the end of this race, Garrett Maines will be on the lead lap. He's currently 5 laps down. You can hold me to that, Stefan.
Undoubtedly. I've seen people come back from 8 laps down in Daytona 500, so anything is possible, even if you're quite a lot of laps down. as there's someone running shortly out of energy juice. And also one thing I've just realized is that the top line is falling a little bit apart as we now only have 3 cars atop.
But they've got a big head of steam as well up top with just those 3 cars. It looks like Garrett Maines is going to come to play up top as well. He's not in a lucky position because Sully Hans is a lap down at the moment, circulating by himself, so he doesn't need to fight too hard for it. So I'm going to need to make sure that if a caution does come out, he's not involved in it. But he's going to do his best to stay with this lead pack and push these guys along. As an ECF looks pretty strong early on, pole position. He's led quite a number of laps already. And Brendan Jackson in behind him doing a fantastic job of pushing for now. There's Sims and Prince just struggling a bit to make it work up top. They keep getting a decent run. They're getting a nose ahead up top, but not able to fully clear.
Yeah, right now it's 2 wide, 4 deep, then we have a little bit of a break to, I would call that already a second pack of 5 cars. The good thing right now is for the top guys that they have Garrett Maines back there, so it's even top and bottom that gives the top side a good chance. And especially if that second in line, Steven Sims right now, that 26 car, if he is a good pusher, you can actually really nicely get up in front. And
hey, Jackson goes to the middle, going to be 3 wide here for the lead of the race across the start-finish stripe. Jacob Prince gets left out to dry, and Sims comes down in the middle to push Jackson, and he he can't quite clear. In ECF there, into turn number 1, Prince will tuck back in line about 3 car lengths behind where he was initially, as Koenig just gets a bit of a slalom there going on the back straight away, moving across the back bumper of an ECF. An aggressive move from Jackson to put himself up into the lead of the race, or at least on the outside at least, as they're going to come up here on another lapped car. And that is Dennis Moore, I do believe, putting himself a lap down.
Indeed right. Squeezes those 2 lanes there a little bit. Could have given them more room, but everything is working out very nicely. And once again, the top line has fallen apart a little bit after they got bunched up again. Now we have 4 cars atop, or is that 3? No, it's 4. Everett Lane switches the lane and goes atop.
Top 12, pretty much all double file or so. 13th on back, all single file content to ride. Shaughnessy, Coles, Brown, Thompson, Boniaz, Danson, Waterman, Tong, Collins, Williams Jr. All of them in this lead group, in the lead draft, but all content just to ride a single file by their time for now. As Koenig again struggling with that machine right now. Not feeling comfortable with the fixed setup. Potentially he catches the apron as well. And if I was some of these drivers behind him at the moment, I'd be a little bit apprehensive about this, as Jackson comes down to the inside and takes that lead away.
Yeah, good thing for Jackson. The jump up top has really worked for him. And here now also comes Inisef, who tries that again to get back the lead. Leaves Brandon Jackson hang up out in the try. And there he goes, Inisef, to the front again. Steven Sims moves down with him, so the 26, 9 seconds.
That'll stem from a massive push from Garrett Maines. Almost pushed Sims into the left rear of an ECF and turned him around. They gathered it up nicely, used the run, and both cars have got down in front of Jackson. And Maines, left out by himself, finally gets some help here for the 24 of Everett Lane. Jackson looks like he's thinking about coming back up to the high line as Koenig thinks about going down to the apron. She's not going to want to do, but he's just struggling. Now he goes to the outside. Oh, Maines tried to go around him. But Koenig throwing the block, preventing him from doing so. Maines gets out of it and now goes down to the inside line and doesn't want any more part in that outside battle.
Yeah, don't forget, Maines is 5 laps down these guys, so we had a little bit of a weird situation there anyway with that lap car leading the top lane, and nobody really wanted to push it because he is 5 laps down. So it was a little bit awkward there at top, but now we seem to have forming that top line again. Silver 26 is thinking about it, but I think he is now not clear of the 99. Let's see what he decides to do in the middle of the corner. Goes out again. I think he's running hot there a little bit, so he moves out to the right side. That's the top lane once again for him. Let's see if Sims is able to get that lead away from NECF. He's not getting clear. Or is he? No, he's not. Just barely still had the fender not clear. So Sims not able to take that lead away.
And no help on the outside there for 26 of Sims. They try to tuck down to the inside in front of the 8 of Natsuki. He won't. He's going to go backwards. Top 4 will be single file with no one on their outside. As now Koinat comes to the back of Sims with help as well from Everett Lane back there. But the outside starting to disintegrate upon itself as Sims tucks down to the inside. The 31 gets down to the apron and gets out of it as up front. A couple cars make their move to the outside line, led by the 6 of William Krushka, ahead of Natsuki, Maines, and the 00 of Joshua Meyer. And now Sims, what a run he's got on the inside. He's got nowhere to go with it. But that shows how powerful a run can be. And an interesting knowledge for him to store in the back of his mind later on in this race.
And also the disintegration there off the top lane really showed how much you need to be pushing and be together. Need to be working together rather atop the lane here, because otherwise you're just losing so much momentum compared to the bottom lane that Sims pretty much dropped all the way to the end of the bottom lane, and now he is once again in 3rd place. A really interesting movement there by Sims in just one lap from pretty much last on the bottom to 3rd on the bottom, as we once again have about 5-6 cars on the top lane. And actually right now the top lane is looking stronger than the bottom.
It is. It's got some good names up there. That's why it depends on. It really does depend on what line is formed up better than the other, and the outside looks better. Looks, what's the word? Looks more properly formed than the inside. Let's go with that for now. And it's got the good names up there to help that happen, like Garrett Maines. Giving a strong push to the back of Natsuki. Just gets out of shape. Maines somehow slots back in behind him. I thought for all money that he was on his left rear and about to hook him. But good judgment. And they survive another lap. Lap 17 of 200. We've been green so far. Been a good start for most of these drivers. How long will it last though? As Maines goes down to the inside line behind Sims. That leaves just 2 cars up on the outside now. Going to have to await Joshua Meyer to get to the back bumper of Natsuki here.
One thing we actually missed, it's already a few laps ago, it happened on lap 14. Jacob Prince, he actually had a little bit of a movement. The number 9 car is now right now 22nd, running all alone just across the start-finish line to start his 18th lap. And he was actually 3rd place in the bottom lane, had a little bit of a wiggle, had to go onto the apron to save it on turn 4, and yeah, that's what these things do with you. He lost a lot of momentum, lost a pack because of that, and now look at how much he is back, sitting in 22nd. He is, 18 seconds back.
For them, you can see it's a lonely race for Jacob Prince right now, all the way back in 22nd, 18.9 off the lead of the race. The gap only increasing. One car cannot match up to the lead pack. That is 21 strong. And he will probably join the 3 cars already that are a lap down. In a few moments' time, when the lead pack roars back around to his rear bumper, it'll probably take a couple laps, but once it happens, he'll go backwards real quick. But Garrett Maines has shown us that when you do get lapped, you can claw your way back into the leading group of cars, leading the outside line now. With a big push from William Krushka up there. Maines will be hoping that there's going to be a few cautions in this one to give him time to get back onto the lead lap as a 22 goes a lap down. That's Sully Hands losing his 2nd lap of the race.
And he was actually scraping the wall there a little bit, the 22 was. Also a little bit running out of internet juice right now. Sully is, as everyone is able to get cleanly past him. We still have 2 lanes At the very front, it's right now once again leading the top lane. Garrett means the car 5 laps down as the number 6 drops out of the top lane on purpose. Willem Trushka, that is. And he is moving back into 5th place on the top row.
Another thing to note here that could favour Mains being in this lead group, leading the outside. If caution was to fly when he's got his nose in front, he will be scored 4 laps down instead of 5, and that'll be one way for him to get a lap back, is just be ahead of the leaders when the caution flies. Right now he's doing just that. A big push from Matski down the back straight. Will it be enough to clear an ECF down on the inside? It looks like it is to the naked eye, but Mains plays caution to win, doesn't dive down quite yet. On the outside, 4 deep here, 5 deep. On the outside, 4 on the inside forms up, and once again they get out of shape coming out of turn number 2 on the tri-oval. There's quite a few drivers just struggling a bit for stability, it seems.
Yeah, that double O down there could have handed a 26 a water bottle if they would have needed to. And that's how tight those two were together. Oh, as the 99 jumps atop, that's Brandon Jackson now in that iRacing colored Ford Mustang. Gets a bump from the one that makes 100, but it is not going to be enough to get atop the charts.
Inside, Sims and ECF have broken away from the car behind the 10 of Newman. And that should aid the outside here, who've got themselves lined up a little bit better. But now Newman's going to slowly claw his way back up to the rear end of Sims. And the outside will lose any lunch they would have had there. You do get the sense, second, there's a lot of drivers just biding their time.
Yeah, it really does seem so, especially the number 6 of Krushka. He was in 2nd place on the top lane and then just decided to drop all the way back. He is now being scored, last lap he was scored at least in 11th place. Might have changed a little bit as a lot of cars are now on the top lane again, which is starting to form up, but it seems like a lot of people are starting to get that little bit slideways out of turn 4 over that hill. So I don't know, it's still a long way to go, but it seems like these guys are starting to struggle that ever so slight little bit with the aero balance on their cars coming out of the banking.
Only about 10 or so laps away as well from a potential, well, from a definite pit stop. Not potential, they're going to have to come down the field. We're on board with Brad Newman here. Just lined up behind Sims. You can see how Sims moves on entry to turn number 3. Newman just gets out of it a little bit to avoid getting into his rear bumper. You can see how closely packed these guys are. No margin for error here at Daytona.
Because we were briefly talking there about the pit stop, I'm thinking our windows will somewhere be between 33 and 38 laps. With most definitely Dimitri Iniciev will be on that 33 lap marker because he was running all race long out there in the wind right now. Already 25 laps, 24 and a half now we have been scoring. The guys at the very back, one of them probably is going to be Willem Krushka, who are probably going to be able to run those 38 laps if they're very good on the frontal management, as Brandon Jackson now takes the lead away from NSF, the 99 now in 1st place.
The closer we get to the pit stop phase, we'll start to see a migration down to the inside line from most of the drivers here. Of course, you can't pit if you're on the outside because you've got to have a car firmly in your way. That's why everyone gets down that inside, and when the pit stop phase comes around, they roll out of turn number 4 at full pelt, dive onto the apron and stomp on those brakes, and inevitably there will be someone that locks those brakes and sends smoke signals into the sky here in Florida. And pit road is often where we see the incidents occur in green flag runs like this, because you've got a big pack of cars coming with you. It's hard enough by yourself to get the car slowed down from 200 mile an hour. When you've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 other guys around you, you can't afford to lock a brake and cruise into the back of them or get a bit sideways and head into the side of them.
Well, one thing that I always found more difficult than actually getting down to pit lane and starting to brake and, you know, being mid-slowdown. Whoo! 2 cars going up to the top there. That's Steven Sims and NECF. So NECF trying to get back that lead from the 99 and does so quite nicely. Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. He stays in the middle. 26 also moves down. The 99 gets a little bit blocked there. And now he moves down to 26, so both NECF and the 26 of Steven Sims in first and second. But to go back to my point there, what I always had trouble is shifting into first gear. If you're a little bit too early, it doesn't need to be by too much. You're actually starting to lock up those rear tires already quite easily, and if you do that, you're most definitely going to spin out to the right, which is not so bad. But if you spin out to the left, there is a pit wall that is going to hurt your car quite a bit.
Dangers of pit road, then here at Daytona, it's a dangerous place, this track. When you get it wrong, then Jacob Prince is about to get lapped after his mistake a few laps ago, but Steven Sims, I think he changed his mind about 10 times. Yeah, well, we saw that a lap ago when he was pushing an ECF lead. He'd cleared Jackson momentarily. The time he came down, Jackson was basically on his bumper as he tried to slide across. He decided it was too risky. But then by that point, Maines was on his bumper up top as well. So he got very fortunate there that Jackson and Maines both backed out of it. He was able to find himself back into the inside line. But moments like that later on in the race, Jackson and Maines, they probably won't lift off. That's when the incident will most likely occur, as Prince there up on the wall goes a lap down, leaving just 21 machines on the lead lap.
Whoa.
And Kelly Thompson is 12 seconds off as well, so they're going to go a lap down fairly shortly too, if they can't find a drafting partner out there.
Brad Newman, extremely lucky there, going up to that dog leg. He actually really got shoved into pit lane by the 2 guys, the Everett late number 24 and Jacob Prince. Was actually the 30 of Matt Danson, because they wanted to move down and forgot that the 10 was still down. There's the 8. The 8 makes it for the first time. 3 wide. Andrew Fernias is moving up the position over Jacob Prince, who is struggling a little bit. I wonder if he has some damage.
Yeah, it was Joshua Meyer that came down onto the front right in Newman that caused the evasive action there. And a good heads-up driving from the man of the number 10 to avoid an incident, as now Danson gets his name into the picture here for the first time today. Started from 14th, finds himself 3rd in line on the outside now. Pushing Lane and Maines up top. Still, Sims and ECF working together down on the inside. Those two have been formed up quite nicely for most of this race. As 3 wide they go down the back straight away. That's Andrew Fernias. Fernias,
yep. And Fernias there, the 88.
Yeah.
Second time he tries to do it 3 wide. This time it doesn't work though. I don't know if this really is the point to be this aggressive. I mean, it can work most definitely, but yeah, I mean, we're now 32 laps into a 200 lap race. I don't know if this is right now the best strategy call that he can. Look
again,
at him again.
Looking at the outside. The issue for him, it's not going to work unless someone goes up there with him. He's got no one behind to give him a push. He's got no one in front that looks willing to dive up in front of him and pull him along. So he can keep trying that as much as he likes, but 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work out for him as we come across the stripe and begin lap 33. Well and truly into the pit stop phase here now. The window is open for these drivers. No one has really tried to migrate down to the inside in that leading half a dozen cars. In fact, the top 10, really, the top 12 are still all double file.
Yeah, they are still going strong, so it seems like NECF is going to drop, and the question is, who is going to drop with him? I don't think that NECF has another lap in his car, so the 23, I would say, goes into pit lane right now. We probably will see a few guys driving down with him when he decides to do so. Oh, actually, he's able to go another lap, so apparently I do not know anything. Oh, we actually have two cars. Lawrence Shaughnessy and
Nope.
Adam are into pit lane. And did we see trouble? I think it was Stephen Brown having a little bit of trouble there into pit lane. Yeah, he nearly ran into the back of Adam Colster going into pit lane. So it's obviously the inside where the apron extremely green still. A lot of dust still on that part. And I think Stephen Brown even missed the pit entry. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
He missed that pit entry. That was the grass. So he has to sit for an unsafe pit entry.
Here comes an ECF all by himself. He's got no friends down on pit road. And
No, he
that
got
means that it... No, he's got 3 behind him, but no one from the leading pack of cars. Jacob Prince, James Waterman, and Kiefer McKenna. That won't be great news, though, for an ECF, because he needed someone from that leading group to go with him. Gonna have to work with those guys a little bit further back now and hope that they can work together well enough to keep him with the leading group of cars when the pit stop phase rolls out. Denisiev sits in the lane for 14.3 seconds, rolls out well in front of the next group of cars on the pit road. As now a few more come down. Brendan Jackson and Steven Sims, and Sims comes in extremely hot. That's going to be a speeding penalty.
Yeah, I think both of them got a speeding penalty. Sims most definitely was about 30 miles per hour over top there, and Jackson might have been good there, but both doing a little bit of a Gymkhana impression into the pit entry. As Stephen Brown, another mistake from him on pit exit. As Sims is still trying to get into his pit stop. Finally, he managed to do it, but also Brown had some problems himself, as now Waterman nearly gets spun around in turn 3. Things are kicking off. Another flock of cars into pit lane.
Everett Lane's about 80 kilometers an hour too quick on the pit road. Speed penalty for him as well. Eaststormer, Matsky, Danson, Fania, oh my god, Andrew Feneraz, William Krushka, and Joshua Meyer. There's always one name that really screws with me all race long, and apparently it's going to be the man behind the wheel of the number 88 that does that for me today, Stefan.
Oh, and the 25 is still trying to get into his pit lane. Brian Tonk finally got into his pit box, so that's going to cost him a few seconds. As a lot of guys are driving out already, but he is still sitting there. Brad Newman now goes into pit lane. That's way too hard for him. He's going to miss it by a quarter mile. That's a penalty and a killed cone. So another car that is going to sit there for a few seconds extra.
Well, the good news for these guys is about half a dozen people have got penalties in pit road, so there should be a decent pack of them actually.
Yeah.
Halfway around the track, or behind the leaders, that could hopefully work together and keep themselves afloat on the lead lap, as the leaders, after all of this, appear to be Matt Danson, Tim Matsky, and Andrew Funaz. Joshua Meyer about 6 or so car lengths back in closing. William Krushka trying to close in as well. And then you've got to go a little bit fair way back to find Brendan Jackson, Ernie Williams Jr., Garrett Maines. So these 4 or 5 guys managed to break away quite nicely here.
Yeah, I don't think that William Krushka will be able to get up to those 4 cars. So I think right now our leaders are just going to be Matt Denson, Tim Matzke, Andres Fernias, and Joshua Meyer. As they now go 2 by 2. That's not going to work very well for being fast. So, yeah. Actually, let me say that again. William Krushka is going to catch those 4 cars.
Oh, he's not lapping. I don't think he's going to get there. He's at the
No,
moment.
he's waiting. He's waiting now. He's waiting for the two cars behind him. He did
2.4
take it to the top lane.
seconds back, and so he'll fall all the way back to Ernie Williams and co. And that will mean a 4-car breakaway of almost 5-second lead they will have over the 5th car in line once he slots all the way back there, which is pretty decent after the pit stop phase to break that away. Those drivers made it work well, and Matt Danson, of course it's Matt Danson, that leads this race.
Oh, there's a little bit of a wreck in the second pack. Adam Coles got shoved into the outside wall in turn 3 by Jacob. They were 3 wide there. Just those 3 cars, they were the only one that weren't on the bottom row, and somehow they were able to find themselves on the track. There we can see that the number 9 is gonna shove the number 5 into the outside wall entering turn 3 right about here.
He just turned right middle of the corner.
Hey, you know, turn right to go left. You know how this goes.
I think that's a dirt thing.
Is it dirt? Oh,
I feel like that's a dirt thing.
always getting it wrong here, but either way, the number 1 of who is that? Garrett Main. Staying on the bottom side. I don't like that strategy call right now, because this is gonna split up this pack as they try to catch the 5 leaders that we have. Actually 4 leaders. We have Everett Lane now. A lap car being with all 4 guys. Still
Jake Collins. Yeah, Jake Collins getting a big push on the outside from Brian Tom. They're making big progress around the outside of the second group of cars. Already cleaned up 3 guys down the back straight away, trying to get some more through 3 and 4 as they roll on the main straight here. And this will give us a good picture as whether the inside's checking up a bit. And it would appear so, because even just 2 cars working together very nicely. William Krishka sees that and goes up to give him a push.
Yeah, you can really see how disorganized right now this bottom lane is. There's about a school bus length between all the cars right now that they're overtaking. Oh, 3 nearly goes a little bit too aggressive there on the apron as he moves up. The 50 joins him. That's Steve Rada. So, yeah, we're starting to see these guys not only come to the top, but this whole pack is starting to catch all 4 wheels. So, their run will be very shortly lived. As Jake Collins moves up to the very top of this pack.
So outside working very well. Garrett Mains goes up the outside as well, just in behind Krishka. Although in doing this and racing this hard, you would think they'd be costing themselves a bit of time, but it seems to be working. They're closing in on this leading group of 4. Only 3.7 seconds back now.
Whew. Sims twice on the apron, saves it 4 times, keeps it green. That could have been very nasty right there.
Garrett Mains goes back to the inside, pushing Jackson now, and Collins and Tong, their progress gets halted for the first time. They're starting to go backwards. Now just 4 cars back on the outside as the 15 says see you later and dives down, and Jackson now goes up to the top as Krishka goes back to the bottom.
And this is starting to get interesting, because the 4 cars of our lead group, they're right now 2 by 2. And then we have a lap car top as well. That's Everett Lane. And they're most definitely getting caught quite quickly by the second pack. And I don't want to know right now how this is going to end if they continue to stay 2 by 2 in the front pack.
Tim Matsky's gone to the outside, getting a push from Meyer and Lane. Danson on the inside with Berniaz behind him. lost the lead of Stripe. Getting it back there through 1 and 2, but almost inevitably the outside works too well down the back straight. Matsky able to clear and go down the inside ahead of Matt Danson. Takes that lead away, and now Meyer gonna hope that Lane can do to him what he did to Matsky and push himself clear as the 4 gets well out of the way there of the leaders as they roll on by. It wasn't the 4, because there's not a 4 car in this race. Who was that? It was the 34, the 84 even, Stephen Brown.
It's sometimes a little bit hard to see those numbers, especially if they are some sort of metallic. Good thing is though that 84 of Stephen Brown, he is right now closing that gap a little bit there for Ernie Williams Jr. as the top lane has a huge run there as Dimitri Inisiev goes to the top to fill even more that gap. And most definitely our second pack has reeled in the leaders and once again have won a big pack.
Gonna have the mother of all runs here is Dimitri Inisiev, but what does he choose to do with it is ahead of him, the 88 of Firignaz just rides the wall, gonna go backwards, and Inisiev gotta check up. Maines goes to the outside. Jackson dives down to the bottom of the racetrack. Somehow they avoid having a big incident there because Inisiev checked up, and the further back he went, the less prepared they were for that big check up in speed. Inisiev, though, it's worked well for him. He takes that lead away down on the inside.
Yeah, Garrett Maines had a safety move there, went to the top, and now he goes to the bottom, just about a car length hole on the bottom line, and he fills it quite nicely with his number 1. So the number 1 and now still 4 laps down, I think. No, 5 laps down. So yeah, it's going to be interesting what is going to happen with that one come later in this race as the top lane once again disintegrates. It's now just Everett Lane on top there now. Maines joins him as we have another lap car that we're gonna catch. That's Brad Newman. That's the 10th car. He also had one of those lengthy pit stops because of his speeding and friction.
James Waterman and Adam Coles will go a lap down pretty soon as well, which will leave just 14 drivers on the lead lap with once Waterman and Coles get caught. It'll be 5 cars, 6 cars even, a single lap down. Plus Garrett Maines, 5 down, looking very competitive. That's Stephen Brown as well. A lot of drivers will be backing for a caution now to try and get himself back in the leading group as Danson was momentarily 3 wide. Puts himself back into the second lane, which is the outside line. And is doing his best to try and find his way back into the lead, which he held for a short moment of time out of the pit stop phase. That run that Inisiev and the rest of the second group of cars had when they caught the leaders was phenomenal, and Inisiev worked it beautifully to get himself to the inside and to lead the race. As we come across and we tick over to lap number 50 of 200, a quarter of the way through the Daytona 500. They'll slice by a laps car down on the apron. We will go to a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. You won't miss a second of the action though. We'll be back just after this. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. The lead pack, led by Garrett Mames, 4 laps down for the moment. 5 laps, he falls behind these leaders. The leading car is Elyseev, second in line on the inside, because the outside line is being led by a lap car as well. Left Everett Lane, right in front of Matt Danton up top. We're still green 50 laps into this one, or 55 laps into this race as Mames almost gets hooked by Elyseev. And that's going to allow Lane to clear and get down the inside with Matt Danton getting a big push from Sims. Not able to clear though are those 2 drivers. And now 2 laps cars leading the inside here at Daytona.
Yeah, though the top lane had a little bit of a complication there through turn 3, and it completely disintegrated. That means those 2 at top don't have a very good run, but I don't think they really have to get one. Because as you said, Dimitri Elyseev, he's only that 3rd car in line, that yellow and red one on the bottom lane. That is your 2nd place driver right now, or your leader of the bottom row with, I think, Matt Danson. Yes, indeed, the number 30 car got scored the leader on lap number 55.
A lot of drivers, they've got a spare car, but they don't want to use it, because if they use it early on, say now, for example, lap 55, and they use their spare car, they've still got 3/4 of the race left to go with the 1 car, and if another incident was to occur, they would be basically out of it. Even if you pick up a small amount of damage, it would be worth not taking the spare car, just in case you get into another incident before the end of the race, as Matt Danson goes to the outside, and they're going to be 3 wide, 2 deep here, as the 10 goes up to push him. But no momentum up there.
Yeah, this was actually interesting, because Steven Sims decided to actually drop the 30 car there and instead push the number 1, which is still a lapped car. So very interesting development there. I would have probably stayed with the 30, but you never know what is going to happen with the guys behind you. So he did just play the safe card there. But now the interesting part is that both the 26 and the 23, that's Elyseev there on the bottom and Sims on the top, they both have to push 100% because they are 2nd in lane. And whatever happens, I think right now Elyseev has the better cars, because now he is only the 3rd car in line, and he now can rest off the front a little bit, where Sims still has to go flat out and be completely in the wind.
Yep, and once again, Mames and Lane down on the inside, working well. But Sims still just plugging away up on that top line. Been up there for quite some time now. A number of drivers have gone in front of him and been able to get down to the inside and lead the line as a result. But Sims hasn't quite been able to make that work, and getting a good push now from Matt Danton 30, but there's only 2 of them there. There's 3 cars formed up on the inside beneath them. And Joshua Meyer starting to come back to make it a 4-car train as well. So the outside just isn't working right now with only 2 cars up there. But Everett Lane makes a very close move to the outside, and Newman goes to the middle, and they wreck behind them.
Oh, that's a lot of good cars in that one here. 4, 5, 6 cars involved in that one. Good thing though, all of them still have their T car available to them, but that brings out our first caution.
Took us 60 laps to get that first caution here at Daytona.
It all started, by the way, with the number 15 of Steve Rada on the top lane. Actually, I would nearly say that was all caused by the 24 going up, and then just people not really seeing what is going on because of all the movement ahead. And yeah, Rada got caught out a little bit by that, as you're going to see on the replay that we're going to show you now.
So you see there, coming through 3 and 4, Everett Lane goes to the outside, gets out of shape. Newman takes a move to the middle of the racetrack, and then, yeah, just down to the inside came, yeah, it's an odd one. It just seems like he didn't realise there was a car that was inside.
Yeah, that poor 27 of Jay Collins, though. Nowhere he is able to get with that 15 all of a sudden coming right at him. Just very unfortunate for Jay Collins there.
The 8 came up right when they made contact, in fact, and that's sort of what caused the accident. Both cars went for the same piece of real estate. I think both guys wanted to go to the middle of the racetrack, and really, that is just an unfortunate incident. We get the here from the number 27 of Jay Collins.
Yeah, poor Jay Collins. He is gonna get turned into a helicopter in that crash. First hits the 15, then goes into the wall, and that sends him spinning. I hope Jay isn't using VR, because then he probably needs a bucket now.
Yeah. So, everyone will come down on the pit road and get some fresh boots and 2 full cans of Sunoco fuel into their machine. And this will set them on a course to probably pit around lap 99 or 100 when we go back green, if we stay green. Zanisiev led them down on the pit road, will lead them out of pit road. It's a good start for the 91. And Kiefer McKenna will roll out second, and Zanisiev will lead them though out of pits.
And right now, a little bit of sportsmanship going on from Brandon Jackson in the pit entry lane, as Steve Radas, number 15, blew up and he wasn't able to get into pit lane. And right now, Brandon Jackson, the number 99 there, you can see it on your screens, is pushing the 15 into their pit stall. Very great move there by Brandon Jackson, giving up his on-track position to help out a fellow sim racer.
So hasn't done too much to shake up the order of this field. Still an ECF. Joshua Meyer puts himself up in the second. He had been struggling to make some inroads. Kiefer McKenna is the big mover in this pit stop phase. Haven't really seen him at the front of the field at all.
Yeah, not really, no, but at least one good thing, if you want to call it like that, about this wreck is that it was roughly inside the pit window. We were actually approaching the pit window in about 2 or 3 laps. We might have seen the first car dive into pit lane. I would have expected them to go into pit lane somewhere around lap 66, 67. We're right now starting lap 63, so it's not too much of an alteration of your pit lane schedule, but it might throw a little bit of a curveball towards the end of this race, because all of a sudden you have to take on these 3-4 more laps worth of fuel in your last splash and dash.
Yeah, and so the pace car will take them around for at least another lap. Lights will go out. We'll get that 1 to go signal, and I'll stack up side by side once again. And I've just noticed Garrett Maines now being scored just 3 laps down. He was fighting to keep himself just 4 down, and now gets a lap back, and just 3 laps down is Garrett Maines. So he begins his charge back up to the leading group. He's down in pit road at the moment, getting his car serviced, and comes out nice and smooth. No one to race on pit road, no reason to rush. Alright, let's see if we get the 1 to go signal this time by. As we go by the start-finish stripe, we watch the lights on top of the, what is it, Ford Mustang pace car. as he comes
Ford
across.
Mustang FR500 and indeed the lights go out. Jonesy, you're a wizard.
Lucky guess. Alright. So, it'll be Anisiev off from the pole position, I guess we'll call it, for the restart. Once again, and then it'll be Meyer to his outside. And then some guys that started well outside the top 10 at the start of this one. Kiefer McKenna started 18th at the start of the race. Matt Danson started 14th. Shaughnessy was 19th. Krishka was 10th. Koignac was 11th. Rada was 21st. Ferinaz was 23rd. And then in 10th place, Matsky, who started 4th at the start of this race. A whole new field of drivers up inside the top 10 for this restart compared to the green flag.
Yeah, since you were running down the top 10 there of the restart, let's actually give you the grid positions. It's 1st, 6th, 18th, 14th, 19th, 10th, 11th, 21st, 23rd, and as you said, Timatske was 4th place on the grid. So, yeah, inside the top 10 were only 3 cars that are now going to start this race once again here in the top 10.
Alrighty, let's get this one back underway. Lap 64 of 200, getting close-ish to the halfway mark of this one. A big gap back to the second car in line. Kiefer McKenna down on the inside. This may prove beneficiary to Joshua Meyer. As we get back underway, can Meyer get down to the inside behind Anisiev? No, he can't. And a big run going to come out of the back of 23, courtesy of McKenna and Krishka. And they will clear the outside. And it's going to be Meyer, Damson, and Sims lines up on the second line, trying to make something happen down the back straight away.
I'm a little bit surprised that the top lane didn't get any good run there on that restart. Normally you see always the top lane to get an extremely good run out of turn 2 into the backstretch, but this time probably just not organized enough to get that run on the bottom lane.
And across the stripe, it's going to be Anisiev that leads them then. I think surely at this point Anisiev has led the most laps of the race so far. And he's looking very strong in this one. Looks like he's got the car or the ability at least to win it. The only thing he needs to do is just keep himself out of trouble. As McKenna gives him a good push and he faced the back of this top 10, the number 3 of Shaughnessy. Just had to get out of it as he got into the left rear almost. Oh, wreck it again. Another caution going to fly here at Daytona. Who's this one? Jay Collins down on the apron. Brendan Jackson down there as well. Steve Rada is in it again. Down in the grass. And Jacob Prince as well. Ernie Williams Jr. A number of drivers. Did you catch how that one started, Stefan?
Yeah, I actually did, and it was a little bit interesting. Garrett Maines did move up top, and the 84 of Stephen Brown got a little bit scared by that, jumped on the brake, got hit by the 24 right into the 15, and that kicked all of that off. You're going to see it now once again on your screens in our GSRC replay. There's the number 1 getting out of turn 2, and just about entering turn 3, you're going to see the one jump up top. And yeah, I would say that is a little bit on the 84 there, just a little bit too, I don't know, scared, I would say, of that left car crossing that checker. By the way, a little bit interesting, number 9 of Jacob Prince, he didn't take his fast repair, he was actually a little bit off the pack already, and somehow still was collected by that wreck, spun himself out trying to avoid cars and nosed it a little bit into the barrier. You're seeing him there right on the bottom of your screen now finishing out. There goes the number 1 at top. 84 brakes, gets pushed by the 24 and the 15 hard into the wall. That's their race done. There, by the way, was also very shortly the number 9 spinning out Jacob Prince. It's most definitely not the race of Jacob.
Steve Ryder would expect his race will be done because he's already taken a fast repair shortly after that first incident. And now, big damage once again. I think Ryder might be our first retirement from this race. As who got the lucky dog? Adam Cole's got it. That looks.
But also Garrett Maines got waved around, so it seems like William Krushka putting on a little bit of different new rules here for the wave round as he waves by 2.
You know, there's one thing that I wish I could change about Daytona, Steffi. You know what that is?
No?
The speed of the pace car.
Ah, yes, most definitely. Just go at about 160 miles per hour, that should do it.
You don't need to fuel save. Who cares about your fuel? Just roll around at 200 kilometers an hour and get this one back underway before 10 minutes rolls up on the caution clock. I think we're still going to have 2 to go when we come across the line. If we do, we will just find out. Yep, still 2 to go at least. So we'll break for a little moment here. And we'll come back ready for the restart here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway for Sim Racers Mental Health Daytona 500. For the 3rd time today, it'll be an ECF leading us back to the green. Our second caution in about 10 or so laps. Hopefully it doesn't mark how the rest of the race is going to go, because if it is, we'll be here for a long, long time, Stefan. But hopefully, This marks another long green flag run, similar to what we had to start us off here. As they make their way through 3 and 4. Once again, you know the drill. Pace car dive down. Prefer to be in the hands of an ECF. No real change to the top 4. Joshua Meyer once again will start second. Stephen Sims found his way up into third in a very short space of time, and Kushka got himself up into fourth. So let's see how the restart goes this time round for an ECF. Third time lucky. He's been lucky already in both restarts so far, and once again works it nicely. Make the way across that start-finish stripe, and Joshua Meyer not able to get down to the inside. Stephen Sims will make his way into second place. As to the outside goes Shaughnessy, and Ethan thinks better of it and tucks back down to the low line.
Joshua Meyer now completely let their hang in the dry. Never mind Elaine and Sims join him. The 26 tries to the 23. That's a long run he has. Gus, he also gets clear of the 23. Yes, he does. Does he go down low? Inverted he does. The 26 now leads this one. Maybe it will be toppled by the 0-0. Let's see what Joshua Meyer's able to do out of turn 4. He gets a good run. Does he also get a push? No, he doesn't. That's going to mean he's going to stall out. And the 26 is going to lead this one, or does he? No, he doesn't.
Very close between Sims and Meyer, door to door, down the run in the turn number 1. Trying to get some side shaft working, I think, as Joshua Meyer didn't quite work out for him. Loses 2 car lengths through 1 and 2. Everett Lane, McKenna, Natsuki, and Danson lined up behind him, trying to make something work on the outside line. Not working for them at the moment, though. Inside, shortest route around the track is, more often than not, the line that works best, unless you're really hooked up on the outside. As we're on board with Joshua Meyer, you see the run coming out of turn 2 through the tri-oval. He claws his way back up to second place. Still gaining, and right here in 1 and 2. Puts Scumper ahead, and then through the corner, Stephen Sims will edge back out in front of Joshua Meyer. Gets the car length back ahead of him, and once again, they'll get the run back down the back straight.
Yeah, but still that top lane not very well organized, so they can't really get all too many runs. Normally you can see a lot more runs, especially in the early stage, but yeah, just taking it a little bit easy right now, I would say. Everybody in this field after those double cautions that we had there. So yeah, speaking about it, 24 goes a little bit on the weekly side of things through the tribal. By the way back we have the white situation. Not anymore, the 30 is no longer side by side with the 91.
Ooh, Everett Lane.
Oh,
Contact the front, around
one.
Both leaders go, and only one car escapes the mess. That'll be McKenna, as everyone involved, and that'll be the big one at Daytona.
Yeah,
and I can see, I think, 2 cars that escaped without damage. I think Brown, a few guys from further back in the field managed to snake their way through, but McKenna, the only driver from the leading group that managed to snake his way through, because he was in front of the wreck.
Yeah, once again, a lot of great race cars in that wreck, sadly. As we're going to take you on board, or rather on the replay here, to see exactly what happened between our 2 leaders. And I would say that was a little bit of miscommunication there between Joshua Meyer and Stephen Sims.
Side-to-side contact and fuel sense scattering. Ooh, who was that? Was that the number 5 that I saw pick his way through the crash? If he did, that was an impressive move. This is Adam Coles. On board with him, you see the chaos in front. Hooks are right, makes it through. Fantastic job from him. Not a scratch on that car. That is how you avoid a crash, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what, Ryan? One thing I just noticed is that I think there was actually quite some netcode involved between the 26 and this 00, as I see this 00 make a little bit of a jump there on the left front. and then suddenly veers off into the 26th. So yeah, I would say there was a little bit of netcode there between our two leaders that caused all of that mayhem on the backstretch.
And for the third time in about 15 to 20 laps, we're under caution as Garrett Maines gets waved around the pace car. Just 2 laps down now. And his charge back to the front continues as everyone else dives down on the pit road.
And there's a
crash
record
on
pit
pit road. Jay Collins facing sideways
27
in his pit box.
Yeah, now he is about a pit box ahead. He has to be careful not to back over the start finish line. Oh, he's actually well ahead of that, so unlucky for him. But what happened there? Ah, he got run into by the 25 actually. There on pit road. That was Brian Tong.
25, Brian Tong, him and the 27 have worked together nicely earlier on in the race to get a fantastic run going. And this is a replay. Not the replay we're looking for. Here we go. We go further back here. And so where's 27? 27 is right in front of the 25 into pit lane. All nice and good so far. Tong just taking a very shallow line in a pit bay, and then, well, I mean, that is why you drive down the right-hand side of pit road.
Yeah, that one is all on Brian Tong there. The 27 just can't see Brian over on the left side there. Either drive in the middle of the road or all the way to the right side, or if you have to drive that far to the left side, drive inside the pit stalls, because then at least your car is ghosted and you're not going to hit anyone.
Third time's the charm, I'm going to guess, for this restart, to not breed another caution. We did the first 50 laps of this race in about 40 minutes. And it's taken us about half an hour to get the next 27 laps in.
You know, if everything fails, this race is going to end in about 1 hour and 38 minutes. But obviously, I don't think that we're gonna be needing those extra 1.5 hours. Lap 77, I don't think that we will have too many more cautions. Especially now that we had that big one with pretty much everyone involved. That means pretty much everyone has used their one spare car, and I would say that everyone is going to drive a lot more careful now that they are in their second car. Obviously, everything will heat up once again when we're getting through, or rather near the end of the race. But yeah, I think this middle portion is going to stay a little bit more quiet now that we had the big one.
Well, Garrett Maines is 1 lap down now, so he's coming very strong here. Should note too that sim time, it's 5:45 virtual sim time, which means the lights will come on pretty soon at about sometime past 6 in the sim, so in about 40 minutes I'm going to say we'll see those lights come on, and by the time we finish this race we'll be racing under the lights here at Daytona. The cars always look a bit more spectacular under the bright shiny lights. What about that number 1 car, Garrett Maines? I don't think he's got a scratch on that car or race long either. I think he managed to avoid that last wreck. So this would be trouble for everyone else, I dare say, if he gets onto the lead lap, which he's got 4 laps back already. I don't think an extra lap will be too troublesome for him. For the first time today, it won't be an ECF leading us back to the green. We've got the Wandergo signal now, and Tim Matsky will lead us back to the green flag with Kiefer McKenna that was outside.
Yeah, since we're not using actual real-life date right now, so February the 21st if you are in the western hemisphere of the globe. We're actually on May 15th, so sunset time for Daytona is 8:09 p.m. So we're still about 2 hours away from that, which means that we're not gonna run into the lights turning on here at Daytona.
You just ruined that for me, Stefan.
I know.
I was looking forward to racing under the lights. You ruined it. I hate you.
Well, right, if you close your eyes, you can imagine those cars running under nighttime.
No, that's...
And you have
If I
nighttime.
close my eyes, I might fall asleep, Stefan. Nothing on this race when I got up too damn early for this. I didn't get my sleep in. If I close my eyes, I might just go back to sleep.
Well, there's always one car.
Pace car will dive down. Go to the hands of Tim Matsky here. Green flag back in the air. We're racing once more. And a good restart there from Matsky. McKenna will get a big push from an ECF on the outside line. The outside that consists of basically just McKenna and an ECF. In the distance, Shaughnessy jumps up to the top as well to give some assistance that won't quite be there through 1 and 2. Because I tell you what, McKenna's probably going to clear Matsky down this back straight away. Managed to maintain a pretty good gap over him, half a car length through 1 and 2, and now does clear Matsky down the back straight, gets hooked by Matsky.
No!
Spins down to the apron, should stay green. If Matsky can get back onto the racing surface cleanly, which he just about does, and we stay green. And that was very unfortunate there for
the 91 that is the driver Keeper
McKenna,
McKenna,
yeah.
and the beautiful Coca-Cola car. But yeah, I mean, the good thing is that we have an example of Garrett Maines, who was once 8 laps down. He's now just 1 down, so most definitely you can come from laps back, and just after about 80 laps, you're nearly on the leader lap again, as we, I think, gonna show the replay on that wreck. There indeed, as they nearly wreck once again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You see,
awkward push.
just got into the right rear of McKenna and hooked him around, and McKenna, there's nothing you can do there, really.
Yeah, just an awkward push there from behind, and that's all she needed to go around.
So the number 91 now runs around, how far back? 22 seconds off the leading group of cars, running around about 10 kilometers an hour slower too, so he's going to go a lap down before too long, as out front a big push comes from Ernie Williams Jr. to push Adam Coles into the lead of this race, and Ernie Williams will stay on the high side and get a push from Brad Newman and try to take that lead away. Garrett Maines up there as well. Shaughnessy trying to get hooked up to the back of Adam Coles as quickly as he can, but not quick enough because Williams takes the lead away up on top, and Brad Newman clears as well and goes down to the inside.
Interesting that the 92 chooses to stay up top, and now he actually gets pushed out pretty wide by the number 1. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think this is the smartest move to stay out. I wanted to say it when he did push the 5, and now he does get the 10 clear, 10 moves down, but he stays up, and sure enough, he is all the way now back to the end of the line, which is second place now, because the top 2 of that outside lane, Andrew Fernias and Garrett Maines, move down low.
Notice how many more people are single file now that they've pretty much used up their spare car. They were, I think, just got a bit excited a couple of race starts ago when they realised they got a spare car still and they can go hell for leather. Came on stuck, and now they've got to be careful again. There's still 120 laps to go. Garrett Maines is officially back on the lead lap, albeit 46 seconds off the leader because the leader is on his rear bumper.
Yeah, and Ernie Williams Jr., the 92, finally finds his way into the bottom row, but now he is, what is that, 4th, 6th, 8th in line, as the top 2 have a little bit of a wiggle there. That's Lawrence Shaughnessy and Adam Coles outside the 5 and the 3, trying to make it work as the 10 joins them for a little bit of a run on the top.
To the outside
they're going pretty wide.
Goes Adam Coles, leaves Brad Newman with no help in the middle. Will Shaughnessy go to help him, or will he go to help Coles? He's going to help neither and just sit off the back of them. And it's going to be the 0-0 of Meyer that goes through on the inside. Then at Daytona, you've got to be patient. You can't make moves like that if you've got no help, because this will happen. You'll go backwards, and both of you will lose out time. Finally, Newman gets to the inside. Coles gets the help from Shaughnessy, who immediately leaves him out there to dry. And we get a good example of what not to do at Daytona International Speedway, as Ferinaz goes backwards now. And Garrett Maines will get a push from Alexander Kognak.
Yeah, the not to do is being indecisive. That was the case of the number 5 and the number 3. They both didn't know what they wanted to do, so everybody lost their out a little bit with the 10 going up highest. There's a little bit of a wiggle from the third car in line on the bottom lane. That's Dimitri in a CF, but he keeps together through 1 and 2. So we still stay under green with Lance Shaughnessy now once again at the bumper of the number 5.
On board, Brendan Jackson looking at the rear bumper of Matt Danson's number 30 machine in front of him. You can see there's the 2 cars trying to work that high line in front of him. You'll see to his right hand side, and but a moment's time the number 9 appear of Jacob Prince, who's trying to get some draft for back of Shaughnessy. There he goes. There goes number 9 up top. Working his way by Danson now. The outside going all but nowhere right now with Shaughnessy and Coles up there.
Yeah, right now it's a little bit weird. The bottom row is quite badly organized. But still, those 2 up top can't really make a run. Now they finally got a run, and we have caution. Why is that one out? Is that a caution for Lebery? It kind of looks like it. No, that Stephen Brown extremely slow.
We got debris cautions in iRacing.
Well, I don't know
maybe soon
what
with the new damage model.
I think Stephen Brown saw some stuff on the road because he decided between turns 3 and 4 to go onto the apron and spins himself out. Yeah, we're gonna try to show you that interesting incident. So there we go, on to the replay, the 84. Sorry, there he spun out. It took him about half a kilometer to spin himself out finally, but yeah, I don't know. Just as said, through 3 and 4 he went on the apron all by his lonesome. Spins himself out because of that and ends up on the middle of the racetrack, and thus a caution has been called.
Well, because this is our 4th caution in 20 laps, we do start to run out of talking points, don't we, Stefan?
You could say so, yeah.
Daytona is a great track. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to start doing that crap. We'll see if anyone comes down to pit road and to take a service. You would suspect most of the leading crew of cars will. Interestingly, Alexander Kognak opts out to stay out on the racetrack. Probably the wrong option there because...
I don't know about that.
Because you can't make it home, so you've got to pit and just stretch out the fuel as long as you can. What's the point in staying out?
I think he's right now calculating a little bit backwards. So, I don't know, like, I like sometimes to do as well that alternate strategy, especially early in the race, which we technically still are. We're not past the halfway point yet, as we're on lap 88, as there's nearly a car wrecking himself into the 42. That was Stephen Brown, the 84. But yeah, I don't know, it sometimes really can work for you, especially if you have another caution in quick succession, or, you know, you somehow get a caution that somehow falls right into your pit window, so everyone has to pit with you. It's complicated stuff to be on an alternate strategy, but it really can work for you sometimes, especially at Daytona.
Well, let's go to another break on the Global SimRacing Channel. And as the caution flag is in the air again, we'll come back to the green flag. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway for the Daytona 500, brought to you by Sim Racers for Mental Health. And a flurry of cautions right before the halfway point of this race has really slowed down the momentum of this one. And we'll have a new leader for the restart here, Alexander Cognac. We'll have Adam Coles was outside, Joshua Meyer back there in third, Brendan Jackson fourth, Tim Matsky fifth, sixth place will be Lawrence Shaughnessy, Dimitri Anisiev starting from seventh, Kiefer McKenna will start eighth, Stephen Sims ninth, top 10 will be rounded out by Brian Tong back there in the number 25. There's a few drivers elected to pit, got themselves further back in the field. Should note Garrett Maines is back on the lead lap, first time this race, as we get ourselves back underway. And a good jump for Cognac. And the Coles tried to get to the inside, but that gap was very quickly filled by Meyer.
99 though of Brandon Jackson goes a little bit aggressive on the bottom side there. Just about a car with the length was though, and he filled it extremely nicely there with his Mustang. But let's have a look at what the top lane can do. The 3 has a very great run on the 5. Will he also push him to the front? Let's have a look. He lines up the bumper. The 5 goes up top That's not really going to help any momentum that they want to build up. But still, the 5 was able to get past Willows. The 3 get past. No, yes, no, he thinks about it. Yes, indeed. The 91 gave him a little bit of a shove there to make him finally decide if he wants to take it. But with that, the 5 and the 3 have taken over the lead.
So, first lap of the race start, going to be led by Adam Coles with help from Shaughnessy behind, and Coinat giving Shaughnessy a big push. Got to be careful when you're pushing a car that's got a car then in front of it, because, say for example, Shaughnessy's lined up on the left rear of Adam Coles' machine, and he gets a big push from the 42 behind, and he's going to go straight to that left rear, and Coles is going to go straight down to the inside of the racetrack. And another quirk is just speedway racing. You've got to be very careful about and make sure that, you know, you're not only lined up to the car in front of you, but make sure the car in front of you is not too close to his preceding car. Otherwise, that's going to cause a wreck. So Shaughnessy tries to go to the outside, gets turned by the 11. No room for Shaughnessy. Cautions out. And a few cars go to pit roads which take avoiding action. And a few down on the apron. Hopefully they rejoin smoothly. They do. And another caution is out.
I just want to give a little bit of an update there on where your car makes are. Adam Coles, by the way, Chevy, the fastest one in first place. Then currently scored in second place, Alexander Cognac. That's your first Mustang. And then Joshua Meyer, first place of the Camrys. He's in third place right now, but that might all change when they get back to the pace cars. We take you on the GSRC replay to show you what exactly happened.
Well, ambition outweighed talent there, I think, from Shaughnessy. Tries to go to the outside, he wasn't clear, and turns up across the front of the number 11. Or number 91, I should say, McKenna. I think McKenna could do there. Shaughnessy, probably definitely too aggressive here. He had great opportunity there to go to the outside, or now. And the moment he did it was the moment that McKenna got to his outside.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, already when he went down on the bottom lane with the number 5, he was extremely indecisive, and only a shove from the 91 made him finally decide that he wants to go to the bottom lane, because that's where his car was heading. So, I'm really not surprised that once again, when it came to changing line, that Shaughnessy was a little bit undecisive on what he wants to do. And yeah, he most definitely paid the price there.
Should note too that restarts have just been changed to single file by race control. So that will hopefully alleviate some of the heartache we've seen. Although I don't think it will take us too long to get back to double file racing. Probably about half a lap, I dare say. That's interesting. The car's up on the jack, but the wheels never left the ground. The chassis did, the wheels didn't.
Flexing that suspension, I guess?
Yeah.
91.
And using the fast repair, we should note too.
Yeah, fast repair for him. I currently wonder how many more fast repair cars do we have? Also, one thing I wanted to mention before that caution came out is that out of the 20 cars that were still racing at that point, 19 were on the lead lap. I don't know how many cars are now still racing, we'll have to see. But right now 20 are still racing and 20 are now officially scored on the lead lap. Seems like all of those 20 are still racing, so good thing. All cars that are still racing are once again on the lead lap. Yeah, nobody in pit lane, so 20 cars still circulating around. Great thing to see. 20 great race cars still around Daytona for another about 100 laps.
Remarkable, considering we've had about 5 or 6 cautions and we've only lost 5 cars from the lead lap in all of that. And everyone else still seems to have used a spare car. Seems like a different group of drivers wrecking every time, which has helped us to stay with a big group of cars here. Everyone's used up their spare car for now. I think probably the majority of the field use their spare car at this point.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure about the 5. I don't know if Adam Coles has already their spare car on. I'm not sure about that. I'm also not sure about the 42. The 00, we have seen him in a wreck already. Same with the 8, the 23, the 92 also. The 3 just was in a wreck. So, I don't know, at least of the top 10, I don't think, apart from like 2, maybe 3 cars, have all used their fast repair. Well, I mean, obviously, the new restarts are most definitely gonna throw a little bit of a curveball once again to these guys, Ryan, with the single file. Obviously, in NASCAR, we don't see them as the lights go out. So it is gonna be really interesting what this is gonna do with all of these guys. I don't know. That this might really be interesting what all of these guys are going to decide to do now. Will someone jump directly up to the top lane and try something there, or will everybody stay just in that single file?
Should mention, the reason I went quiet earlier, other than, you know that saying, if you've got nothing, nothing.
Good to say you don't say anything at all. Yeah.
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 That. But also, I was looking up when we last saw single file restarts in NASCAR. I believe it was 2009 they adopted the double file format.
Really?
So it's been about a decade since we've seen single file.
Well, there are a few cars still trying to do a double file restart with being all the way on the top side as Brandon Jackson decides he has enough of the Daytona Oval. He does a little bit of a lap through the bus stop. Rejoins the track again ahead of the 1. So 19th and 13th are right now making exactly 100.
They used to have single file restarts with 20 laps to go for a period of time. And then they just fully adopted the double file format. Let's see how the single file goes today. Adam Coles gets the jump. And we'll see a big Cosentino effect here as the field will dramatically close on up. Who's going to be the first car to look to the outside?
Everybody.
Everybody's going to want to go to the outside here. Tim Matsky going to be pushing Joshua Meyer. And the single file lasted not very long. A big check out from Meyer as Cole tried to throw the block. And it worked, sort of, I guess.
Oh,
they stay green though.
35.
And Joshua Meyer then will lose his help for now. Koinat going to get a big push to the back of the 5. And Matsky just about now going to get back to the rear bumper of Meyer. Just behind Matsky on the inside is Dmitry Anisiev. Ernie Williams Jr. is about to get a good push from Jacob Prince as well. And Brian Tong down the inside is trying to claw his way up too. Noticing a lot of drivers are hanging back now. About 5 or 6, including Mames and Danson and Lane. Very experienced drivers running at the back. That tells you a bit about the energy of the field. They are expecting some more carnage, and can't blame them what we've seen in the last 40 or so laps. As they're momentarily 3 wide in the background, on the back straight away, but they get themselves sorted relatively quickly as Meyer clears Coles down on the inside. Not going to go down there though.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that everyone tried to go to the top there on that restart, because obviously everyone is getting extremely well run on one another. With everybody being in the drop. of the car ahead. So yeah, it didn't take long whatsoever to go double foul once again on the restart as the 42 hits the bank, hits the apron rather, keeps it together on the inside though, so we still stay green and double foul for the first 2 rows. 25 is trying to move up to the back of the 8th, but really can't get up there right now with all the damage he has on the rear of his Chevrolet.
So, coming out of 3 and 4, the single file lasted about not even a mile.
About 5
already
yards.
double file and almost wrecking. And now it's definitely restarted side by side as Joshua Meyer, again with the help from Atski, trying to clear the inside or get the run down the back straight as Koyanak just slaloming a little bit. Coles getting very close to the left rear of Meyer, who's going to try to clear him but can't do it. He'll try again next time by.
I don't really like what the 5 is doing on the backstretch. He's moving well away from that double yellow line, and it's always creating a little bit of an awkward situation for the guys on top because they have to move up and up and up because the 5 pushes them there. And that's not really your nice racing etiquette that you put on here at Daytona. Once again, he moves about 2 car widths up to the top. I don't know, this just shouts danger. Once again, he moves way up as the 42 pushes him nearly into the double. Adam Coles, please stay down there. You're really creating dangerous situations there. Lap after lap after lap. Oh, you hate to see it. Oh, there's the 40.
Oh, in the fence. Can they save it? No, they can't. Double O goes down to the inside.
No caution.
We stay green. Joshua Meyer gets deposited from the lead pack. Looking at anyone else that might have been involved, a lot of people checked up. Matt Danson's been dropped off the lead group. He checked up. Same with Jackson. Same with Maines. Newman's got a bit of damage. And well, let's take a look at the replay and dissect a little bit more what happened there, as it all seemed to start from the exit of turn 4. Joshua Meyer on the outside of Coles there. Koignac just slides up the track a little bit and then gets up into the front left of Meyer, keeps it up against the wall, and then the car comes back down right in front of the 27 and hard into the inside fence he goes. He didn't keep it off it, did he?
No, he did keep it off.
He did keep it off it. Did he? Did he? Did he?
Yeah.
He did! Good save from Meyer. And Meyer was the victim in that one.
Really great save by Meyer there. And the thing with him coming down there into, I think it was 27, obviously he didn't mean to go down there. I think that was just the momentum of the car carrying him down there from that hit with the, well, probably also had some steering wheel damage there, and that's why he did drift into that 27. So yeah, just awkward moments for everybody around. Just so much movement on the bottom lane there because of Adam Coles moving all the time a little bit too much to the top side. And yeah, just sometimes these incident happens and you just can't do anything about it. As nearly once again the 42 gets spun around. Keeps together though. Jacob Price now leading the top side, being pushed by the 91. So a little bit of 9 love going on there on the top side.
Like a very awkward push. As she's blinking too as Jacob Brents. He's just having some technical difficulties. And McKenna, I think, will probably want to get himself out of his slipstream. Because he won't be getting too much of a slipstream if the car's got in front of him. He keeps disappearing. Top 5 are all single file then. Top 6 make that. all single file, which is a nice change. As I say that, the 25 goes to the outside of Tim Matsky. Brian Tong trying to make something work up top, but he's got no one to help him. Got to go backwards to McKenna and Ferroniards, who finally get up to his rear bumper now to give him some help up there as Koignac slides up the track in front of them, tries to come back down. Matsky backs out of it to allow him to do so. And now the outside's starting to get hooked up.
Yeah, the 42 about the lap ago gave me quite a heart attack out of turn 2. Hit the apron right on the transition, got real loose there. And once again, out of turn 4 got real loose. So yeah, 42, most definitely Alexander Koignac in quite some troubles. Has to keep it together though, still for nearly 94 laps.
Daytona is just, it's a name synonymous with NASCAR, isn't it? It's almost, well, it almost is like the birthplace of NASCAR, you know, racing back in the 1940s or early 1940s in the Daytona beach road course and oval, or road course in fact. And then obviously Brian France was racing in that, and, well, not Brian France, France was racing in that, and from that he decided to organize NASCAR and form the NASCAR company, and then got in talks to create a speedway where they could achieve the highest speeds possible. And from that, Daytona International Speedway was built, and at that time too, Daytona Beach Road Course was the venue for their speed record, and that at the time was 203 miles an hour, which is crazy when you think about it, because now every single one of these cars is pretty much doing 200 miles an hour.
I mean, yeah, but let's not forget that these cars are heavily restricted plated, so I don't even want to think about what those guys could do without that restricted plating.
Yeah.
Probably somewhere around 230 miles per hour without it. So, yeah, I think those 200 miles per hour is about as much you want to go on these extremely high banks of Daytona and Talladega, because I think anything higher and not even a safer barrier would do much safe to a crash. As the 5 nearly runs into the 8 there on the top lane. Once again, the 5 just moving always that little bit up out of the turns, and it is always creating that little bit of a checkup on the top lane and also on his lane himself. So there's not a lot of organization going on right there because of the 5 and also a little bit of the 42. We seem to have a little bit of a grip problem out of turns, as we now have a lap car. That's Stephen Brown, the 84, moves down low to get everybody safe.
The first ever Daytona 500 was held in 1959. It's been over 60 years of running this famed event. It's the most prestigious event on the NASCAR calendar, and arguably for some held almost as high as championships, especially in modern day where championships are so hard to win, where they wreck again. Shaughnessy down to the inside. He got up into the fence and the caution flies. He came back down, and I don't know how that started, but the result was a big crash.
That was really interesting there, Jonesy, because both the 3 and the 5 did blink, but at different times. So both got slowed down by not having a draft of the car ahead or behind them. And then the 42 just, yeah, that was really weird because they both did blink and they lost draft and created all of that. And the worst thing out of all of those cars, the 42 had to take.
Alright, let's look at the replay of, what is this, our 12th incident of the race or something? As we take a look at how this one started. Bit of connection issues for Adam Coles in second. Wonder if that had anything to do with it. As it all started with Shaughnessy out front. As they make their way through the tri-oval. Both of them having issues actually with connectivity, and then Shaughnessy just forgot to turn something had to have been happening there for Shaughnessy, as he seems to have lost the steering for that car, I think. Because even after he got up into the fence and then was back down in the apron, the car continued to come up the track. So I think something deep right there, you can see the car never makes a turn back to the left-hand side.
I wonder if the three experienced the black screen. It looks really weird from that 3 because it just, as you said, straight on. But yeah, as said, the poor 42 of Alexander Konyak, by that 3 car, he got shot right into the pit wall there, right at the Sunoco sign. Head-on impact for him, heavy damage to the car, right away blew the engine, and he is right now sitting on the pit.
Well, as pit stops unfold, let's go and have a look at a car struggling to get into his pit box. This NSC makes it out very nicely and with a very comfortable margin. Let's go to another break on the Global SimRacing Channel, and when we come back we'll have another restart ready for you. we're back at Daytona, lap 114 of 200. Just over a quarter of the race distance left to run. We've had, I believe, 7 or 8 cautions now, all of which coming after lap 60 of this event. This race turning into a bit of a last man standing affair. Reminds me of the clash at Daytona that they ran in the real world just a couple of weeks ago, where everyone died very quickly. And 6 cars were left remaining, and Eric Jones won the race with a car that resembled more 3/4 of a car than anything. Restarts have been changed back to double file, but only 4 cars are double file, everyone else is single file. Don't have an explanation for that, other than it might make for a cleaner restart than normal. As we get back underway, and once more it's Dmitry Anisiev that leads them for I think the 4th time today from the restart. He's going to get a big push here from McKenna. Matsky's going to hope for Jacob Brent to roll them out on the outside line, as slowly clawing up to the back of them now with Brad Newman and William Krushka as well. Make their way through 1 and 2, and a big gap forming for the rest of the field quicker.
Yeah, the other half of the field that is now starting to back, there is just too much damage to keep up. 25 is trying to get up to those top 6 cars. Can he jump the gap? Seems like he's able to, as he is starting to get the draft of the 4 cars in line ahead of him. So he is still part of it. He also still has a little bit of a bubble to the cars behind, but I don't think those guys will be able to hold that draft, as nearly the guys atop wreck there going through the trioval, where Jacob Prince once again starting to run out of infinite juice.
As the top, everyone single file in the field for a small moment in time there, as Garrett Maines pops back out to the outside to continue his run forward. And they're crashing in the background. Please stay green this time by. I think they got down to the apron, and they did stay green. There you go.
The only 2 cars...
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, the only 2 cars to be too wide, and they managed to find each other on the same real estate of track. Either way, we're green, and that means that Garrett Maines tries to go around the outside. Look at that run he gets with the 92 pushing him, as they move themselves up just 5 cars away from the lead. Let's see how much they can gain through 1 and 2. Now just 3 cars behind, and still moving. The 6 tries to go up. That's not going to work for him. By the way, that's William Krushka, the organizer of this race. The 10 has a little bit of a wobble. The 10 goes well up there to give him as much room as he needs. 1 away from the lead. It really does look like those 92 and 1 cars are less damaged than those guys on the inside.
Garrett Maines going to get a shot for the first time today to lead a lap at Daytona. He's been in the lead pack for so much of this race. He's been a lap or more down for all of it so far. Misses out that time by 9 thousandths of a second. Started this race 5 laps down by the time he got out onto the racetrack. Finally, he's clawed his way back. Probably the only man out there thankful for all the cautions we've had so far, because it's allowed him this opportunity back into a race-winning spot on the track as 2 hours ticks by on the clock. 2 hours 15 minutes left to try and get the last 82 laps left in of this race. Should be doable. I think we'll do that pretty nicely, but it will get pretty close to that 4-hour mark as the field hopefully realise there is still 80 laps to go in this race. There is really no reason for guys who are running into each other as much as they are at the moment. There's no reason to be aggressive. If you drop a few spots, you can get it back in about a lap, really. So, and a bit of a loss, Stefan, as well. We're seeing so many incidents out there. I mean, the reason for the last one was unavoidable. We heard from Shaughnessy that he got a black screen, which meant that he had no idea where he was on the track. So, situations like that are unavoidable, but the rest of the crashes have been pretty, well, avoidable, in my opinion, as McKenna gets shuffled out and Maines goes to the middle and back to the lead of the outside line, and again can adjust this out on leading a lap.
Yeah, but I think that Garrett Garrett Mains right now is probably the fastest car still running. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't write him ever down, even though he was those 5 laps down, because we were both saying that you can make up those 5 laps in no time, especially if the cautions fall right for you, which they did for Garrett Mains. And here he is trying to make the move down low. He's not clear though, so he can't go down. That means that probably NSCF gonna lead another lap. Oh, this is a good run though by Garrett Mains on the top side. Can he get it this time? No, once again misses out. This time it's by 7 1,000 of a second. So Garrett Mains getting closer to that first place.
As Matsky wipes across the back bumper of Garrett Mains there, but manages to still give him a pretty good push. And now Mains going to clear the inside and dives down, and will take away the inside line. Tremendous Steve and Matt Ski will be left to lead the outside for the first time today. When we come across the stripe, going to be a new leader on this one, the number 1 of Garrett Mains. Finally gets a lap led here at Daytona. He's been in the lead pack for about 100 of this 100 laps of 122 so far. Finally gets the lead one. And they're crashing again. But once again, down to the inside they go. And we stay green. This time Jacob Prince, the unlucky victim to the staying green effect. The lead group sorted themselves out pretty nicely as we get a replay up on the screen of how the latest incident has occurred.
Yeah, I don't know, that really did look good. I'm not sure if they were lined up or not. It seemed to me that they were lined up, but let's have a look here between the 8 and the 9. Oh, the 9 is actually already missing their bumper. I didn't realize that until now. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the 9 got pushed from behind and that caused all of that. I think that was a double push. It did look weird.
On board with McKenna then. Let's look from this perspective. And it was actually contact. Prince got into the back of Natsuki. McKenna had nothing to do with that incident. It was actually Prince into the back of Natsuki that unsettled his car and sent him around. An odd incident. And unlucky indeed for Prince. But we stay green once more.
Still lots of movement in both lanes coming out of turn 2. The 8 now pushing the 10. Let's see what they can do against the 1 and the 23. And once again, they stall out a little bit, especially because there are only 2 cars, but they are going to get help there from the 24 from behind, who now joins them on their efforts to get past the 1. And I think the 10 has got the 1 covered this time around, and sure enough, Brad Newman is leading lap 124. The 91 once again.
And these guys, they're really tightly packed at the moment, aren't they, these top 6 or so? A lot more than you'd expect lap 125. There's not really any margin being given here for error.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in a pack you're always racing rather close, so I'm not surprised that they are running this close together, especially with a fixed setup. So yeah, just have to see what is going to happen now in those last, or in the second half of the race. But most definitely 7th on down, they're all staying single file, staying back right now from this top 6 cars. Let them have it battle out as NECF now the last car on the bottom lane, as it seems like the 8 is gonna get past the 10. He is clear. He's opting to stay out, though maybe wants to have the 24 as well with him down there. As entering turn 3, he stays up, so not gonna go down unless the 24 seems to be also clear.
Always good to have a friend come the end of the race. And if Natsuki can drag Lane with him to the inside line and make sure he dives down once Lane is clear too. And maybe Lane will remember that come the end of the race and give him a helping hand when needed. But Natsuki there tried to go to the inside. Lane couldn't do it and Natsuki backs out of it. McKenna got to be careful here. The push he gives to the back of Lane. Backs out of it just in time and Lane's able to tuck back into the rear bumper of Natsuki's machine. As Brad Newman will be wanting a bit of a better push from Garrett Maines down on the inside. But Maines isn't getting much help from the number 22. That's the 23, I should say, of Hennessy. And that's probably why the inside is struggling just a bit right now, because McKenna is doing a great job as a third car up top.
Yeah, and quite honestly, these top 3 are looking way stronger than the bottom 3 right now. If they wouldn't have had the 8 and the 24, I think that in about 2 laps time, they would have been able, all 3 cars, to clear the bottom lane, and all 3 move together down onto the bottom lane. So now that they have themselves done a little bit of unorganization in there, so 24 goes to the top side, making 3 wide, and only 1 goes to the middle. No, he just stays behind. Doesn't want to do anything with that. Bottom line has formed up nicely again. 5 cars in, and everybody on the top side moves out. All but 8 actually. Matsuki stays out, and now gets joined by Dmitry Eliseev, who is himself going to drop back to the 8 of Tim Matsuke, but it's only going to be those 2 cars again against the 5 down low. Maybe they will get joined by someone, but right now nobody seems to look out for that top lane.
Do you want to know just a random fact I just found? Obviously we know Daytona is famous for not only the Daytona 500 but also the Rolex 24-hour at the start of every year that often marks the start of the motor racing calendar year. That race runs a lot of its race at night. The headlight, the lights at the track are limited to 20% of the maximum output to allow the cars to still be dependent on their headlights to keep the track dimly lit. Random fact of the day.
Random fact of the day. Thank you very much for that ride. As the 8 and the 23 move down, we have now 2 leaders, and the 8 moves up again. A little bit of a block there onto the 24. That's not going to work very well as 24 decides to just go once again to the top 3 wide. We have it once again for the second row. But both the 8 and 24 don't have any support, so they shuffle themselves back with the 24 losing out to the 8 in the back range. 99 joins them up top, so it's once again 3 at top, 4 but down low. Not quite even, as now also the 6 joins the 4 down low, so that makes 5 on the bottom. But that top lane, we have seen now that there is quite some rubber laid down on top. These cars can move quite nicely as well and be able to keep hanging with those bottom guys, as there's a move from the 1 outside that moves the 8 all the way to the top. Oh, unorganization spreads its way into the top lane once again.
Hennessy has done a fantastic job on this one. He continues to find a way to lead the race. I think by this point he's probably already wrapped up the most laps led on this one, as Garrett Maines gets a big push from Natsuki and will actually lead that lap by 0.002 of a second. Maines, when he moved the outside, wasn't quite clear of Natsuki, and Natsuki was wary to that and just lifted off and moved up a bit to allow Maines up into the outside line, and again, something that we won't see happen come later on in the race. Right now, that's an example of at least some people out there showing a little bit of caution on lap 132.
They're also, by the way, now catching 3 cars that are already a little bit slow. Stephen Brown, the 84, The 5 of Adam Coles and Jay Collins, that's the 27. Those 3 cars are being called right now as the 84 goes in the pit lane and spins himself out, trying to go into pit lane. So that didn't work really well for Stefan there. Now the first time we have seen him having troubles in or out of pit lane. Though the race stays green, thus it doesn't affect our leaders, who are still 2 by 2 cars down. Here now come those 2 lap cars. They're not going to go to the high side. Now they are. Late move by the 6. That is going to cause maybe some problems there. 4 wide. That's not going to work.
And they're wrecking again at Daytona. That's another big crash. Taking out a bunch of guys
the 99 gets collected very late.
Race. Dmitry and Nisev involved in that one. Hopefully he's got a spare car. He deserves to have a shot to win this one. Garrett Maines, Matsky and Lane escaped without damage. We're back under caution then at Daytona. We're going to get a replay up and see how this one unfolded.
Yeah, this all happened to start there with the number 1, with the number 15, with the number 5. Most definitely with the number 5, who decided very late to go up high, and then didn't really leave quite a lot of room there, and they had to go 2 wide through those 2 guys, and 4 wide at Daytona just doesn't work very well, and like we saw right there with the contact between Matske and NECF.
I think NECF came up just a little bit, I think, unsettled by the 27 in front, and Jay Collins was a lap down when that happened, I do believe. And I think
they were
probably caused most of that, actually, in making everyone move up the track. NECF had to move up the track to avoid him. And unfortunately, of course, the 5 is to his outside there.
Yeah, that poor 99, though. I don't know if we can have the camera on him at one point in this replay, because he was able to save it on the grass, and when he rejoined the apron, the 23 came soaring down the banking, hit him right on the right rear of his car and sent him heavy into the barrier. There we have him on the cameras. Brandon Jackson, the 99. The iRacing livery saves his car, and there comes NECF hard into the wall. He goes, heavy damage to his car, and sadly, he also doesn't have the fast repair anymore.
Neither does NECF. He's in his pit box with no front bumper, so his machine looking second best, looking second rate at best. And that is definitely a lot of drivers now with damage. So Maines, Matsky, Lane, McKenna's got a bit of damage in 4th place. Newman's got damage in 5th. Krishka's car looks good back in 6th. Ernie Williams Jr., his car looks clean. But now certainly more than half the field carrying damage. Brendan Jackson with some as well. Steven Sims has got a clean car. Matt Denson's got a clean car. And Tong's got damage. Let's go to another break then on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll come back for the restart here at the Daytona 500. We're back at Daytona International Speedway for restart number 10, I believe we're up to now, of the Daytona 500. Still 63 laps to go when we restart. A lot of running left to be had in this one. 2 hours and 20 minutes on the clock since the green flag. Started off very promising with 60 green flag laps. And everyone forgot how to drive, it seemed, with a lot of mistakes happening out on the track. A couple of unavoidable technical issues, but a lot of avoidable driver issues as well.
I mean, one thing they can try is at least the last 60 laps to be green flag. Let's see if that one works with the pace car approaching pit in.
But let's get this one back underway for the first time today. Led to the restart by Garrett Maines, who jumps on the gas and gets probably the perfect restart. Doesn't get too much of a gap back to Matske, but manages to gap Brad Newman on the outside there. And Newman's got no one to help him because Steven Sims will slot down to the inside line and gets a touch from Anna Save, who somehow, despite missing a front bumper, has got the car speed to stay in this lead group. And the outside disintegrates and goes backwards.
The funny thing is actually the 1 and the 8 are so damaged. Sorry, the 1 is so damaged that he held up Tim Matske, who wasn't able to move past him because his head was there on his outside. So I wouldn't be surprised if the 1 does get dropped out of the lead quite fast here. If someone goes to the top side, which NEC might do. No, he's going back onto the bottom side. Here comes the 10 now with a lot of steam, but he runs out of steam once the banking comes, and he probably has to slot in further back on the bottom lane. Or does he? Still has a great run down there. Now 6 cars back, the bottom checks up there with the 26, so he moves past that. 91 now on his inside, still moves up. Now the momentum stalls once again because he has to move up that big hill, but once that end of the hill comes, there's always some downhill portion, so he gathers up some momentum again. Now moves up alongside 23, only in 5th place now. Brad Newman most definitely has a great run there on that top side, all by his lonesome self, though he makes a break.
So I think we saw from that onboard rearward shot from Garrett Maines just how screwed up his spoiler is. A lot of damage to the rear end of that machine. You'd think that'd be affecting his aerodynamics and downforce, but car seems to be good enough to lead this race quite comfortably as everyone is single file now and hopefully settling in to get towards the end.
Most definitely not all of them, because Brad Newman once again is on the top side. He just gathered up a little bit momentum in the draft, as now he's being joined by Tim Matske. Will he be running with him though? Yes, he will. Stops in behind the 8. Thus, we have once again 2 by 2 for the first 4 positions. Turns there a little bit late into turn 1, moves a little bit up, pushes the 10 out of the draft of the 8. Though they are having much more steam up top. I just think that 1 right now is too damaged to lead that bottom lane, and they are actually getting held up behind that damaged number 1 car of Garrett Maines. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Newman and Matske sooner rather than later move past that number 1 car.
As Brad Newman just pops out of the line for a moment there. Something we haven't talked about all race long is actually the engine temperature of cars. Hasn't been too much of an issue because of the amount of cautions we've had recently. But in the early running, the first 60 laps, and if you go green for the rest of the race, definitely something to note is when you are in a position where Newman's at now, where your radiator's tucked right up behind the back bumper of Matske's machine, there's no air going into that engine and cooling it down, and very easy to let those engine temps rise without you realizing You always suddenly find yourself having to get out of line and go backwards before your engine blows up.
You can actually push these engines quite far. I have come to realize that myself in Daytona 500 RN. It is. I mean, you're still having only about 25% of tape on, but you actually do run quite easily very hot if you don't have an eye on it, as the 24 moves up 3 wide, the 10 says thank you, moves down low because the gap opened with the 91. So we're still once again back to double file racing. And to come back to my point, yeah, you can quite easily overheat that engine, but you have to run probably for like 10, 15 laps, literally nose to bumper, to overheat that engine. As by the way, Brad Newman moved himself up to first place on the top lane with a little bit of a cheeky move. Because he did get forced down there, he was able to overtake Tim Matzke. So the 10 now leading that train. The 8 has a great run on the 10, gives him a nice bump there, but not enough to get perfectly lined up with the 1. The 25 a little bit out of line there with the 1. That might give a good run now to Brad Newman on the top side, as he has a wiggle out of 4. That's not going to do anything good for him. Oh, Tim Matzke pushes him right into the banking of the dog leg. You have to be careful with that, because that caused also quite a wiggle there for the 10 at top. Brad Newman now about lined up with the 25. Let's see how much of a run he can get out of turn 2. There they come now down the super stretch with the 8, actually moving to the inside of the 10. The 24 decides to go with the 8. So that leaves Brad Newman once again to the last spot on the top row.
And that's he just struggling to get that lane working up there. Similar the lane can give him the push he needs that Newman couldn't quite manage. As we've got 15 cars still circulating on the track, 13 on the lead lap. Adam Coles and Joshua Meyer 2 laps and 7 laps down, going 14th and 15th. Stephen Brown working with Adam Coles, or Stephen Brown working with Joshua Meyer, and Brendan Jackson working with Adam Coles at the moment. Both of those two on the lead lap at 21 seconds adrift. 11 cars separated by a second at the moment.
Yeah, and according to Adam Rees, that makes 11 cars still running in the front pack, with Tim Matzke trying to overtake the number 1, at least on the stats sheet he does for this lap, as he takes first place by 0.029 of a second. Number 8 was able to lead that lap, though once again a great run by the bottom lane. Let's see how well the 8 and the 24 can work together down the super stretch. Now lined up with the 25, they're not going to be able to overtake the 1 going into 3. So I don't even think that they will be able to get close to leading this lap.
And it seems to drop down to the apron for a moment there, got a little bit out of shape, as now they go 3 wide as Matzke goes to the middle. And Lane will have to just back out of it and tuck down behind him.
Actually that was Lane just driving up top past Matzke. I'm really not sure what the think process there once again was with Lane. Once again he goes up top and tries to overtake Matzke. He has a great run right now on Matzke, but he stalls out, and especially down into turn 3, you're gonna see now that he loses a lot of momentum driving up that hill, and once again has to stop in behind the 8. Driving on board now with the number 10 car of Brad Newman, 5th in line in the bottom row. About now lined up with the number 8. In behind him, by the way, that is William Christie. He comes in right now. The number 6 car, the lead organizer. and also the organizer of this special event, as Tim Matzke, the green number 8 car, moves ahead of Brad Newman. That leaves only the 24 of Everett Lane out on the top side. The 91 joins him, so that makes once again 2 cars to be atop the
as they will come to complete lap 100. Well, they will begin lap 150. 3/4 down, 50 laps to go at Daytona. Starting to get to the phase of the race where normally you'd expect the action to ramp up, the cautions to start flying. But I think we reached that part of the race about 70 laps ago. There's just about 9 competitive cars left in this one, it seems. Maybe 11, with Matt Jansen back in 11th. Still holding on, having a very quiet race, and just hanging at the back of the field, it seems, until he decides it's the right moment to move. Contrary to Garrett Maines, who would be running at the front all race long.
Yeah, I don't know, like, these 4 cars, Krushka, Sims, Williams, and Danson, I think they're playing right now the smartest game that you can have out there. They're giving themselves some room to those top 7 cars, and I don't know, if I would be right now running in this race, I would do the same as those 4 are doing, because I would probably expect another caution or 2 to be triggered, as by the way, they're gonna catch the first pack of the 2 cars, of the 4 cars that are still running outside of this group. Those first 2 cars are now between 3 and 4, with the other 2 cars just a few more yards up the road. So they are gonna catch those 4 cars in quite quick succession, and the thing is, they're also about 20 miles per hour slower than our lead pack.
So McKenna leads at that time. We'll go to the inside. Everett Lane clears Maines, but can't clear McKenna, and will sit in second on the outside. Matsky will push him, as Maines, I dare say, will want to get himself out of the double file and out to the lead of the inside, so we can go single file around this racetrack and minimise the risk of being taken out. All of these guys, I think, by this stage have used up their spare car, and they're in them right now. Steve can't really afford another incident as they go by a couple of lapped cars that are on the inside of the racetrack. That's Joshua Meyer and the number 4 of a car. Oh, I've just seen the crash too in the background. Brendan Jackson was turned sideways by Adam Cole.
Oh, and they're wrecking.
And finally loops it. It's right in front of the leaders too. Manages to keep it down on the grass, but very awkward crash there, as the leaders are 3 wide now for the lead of the race.
Well, with that, Garrett Maines now in 3rd place, Tim Matzke 2nd, Kiefer McKenna, the 91, still leading. Garrett Maines now goes to the top, being supported by the 10 of Brad Newman, the 24th Everett Lane in 3rd place in that line. Make that 4th place as the 23 tries to go top and realizes, oh, I still have the 24 outside of me, so I don't go up there as the 10 moves down. So that means 4 down, 3 up. Actually, now also Krushka moves himself onto the bottom lane quite tightly there as the 24 goes to the top. Let's see what he can do there as Tim Matzke is clear of the 91, moves down, so we are now 3 wide for 2nd place. And Everett Matzke has to stick back behind the 1 this time. It's not the 8, it's the 1 that he now has to get around.
Lap 155 on the board now. Matsky then leads it from McKenna down on the inside. Maines trying to work with Lane and Newman up top, but it just seems like it takes a couple laps for the outside line to come in and to really be able to make any inroads on the guys on the bottom of the racetrack. As, oh, there we go. That's bad news for Matsky. He gets shuffled out by both lanes and will go backwards in the middle of the track. Maines up top will clear them all and dive down to the inside of the track. Lane going to try to come down in front of Matski, but can't clear him, so that worked out poorly for Lane, in fact even worse for him. And it did for Matski, who will end up 2 spots ahead of Lane.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan there was from Matsuke. It looked like he tried to put on the block in the top lane, and the top lane just moved up like it would naturally do. So, yeah, I don't know, watching a little bit too much real life racing there and not enough virtual racing, because it might work on real life, but with these few cars going around, it doesn't work in virtual motorsport, so not the smartest move right there by Matsuke, but hey, you never know if you don't try.
See if McKenna can clear mains here. The big push from Matski out of turn number 4. You would think he should be able to do it, and he will. So he'll wheel this lap as we get closer and closer to 40 to go. And he's opting not to go down to the inside. And that's going to allow Matski to go to the inside, and McKenna will stay up top and won't be able to keep the lead of the race.
And by the way, Ryan, the 1-0 into the 91. If we continue like this, we might actually be able to get your night racing in, because it's 19:05. That's 7:05 p.m. if you choose to use the 12-hour clock. We're only about an hour away from sunset time.
Hopefully we stay green here. And it should take us about 35 minutes. There's the weather on the screen. 79 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature. 26 degrees Celsius for normal people. Nice and cool. Plenty of grip out there for these drivers.
But yeah, obviously let's not hope that the last 40 bout laps of this race take another hour to complete, because I'd probably think that Krushka would call it by then, if that really would happen. Either way, Kiefer McKenna now once again very unorganized for the top side. That means that McKenna is going to move down. The 24 is suddenly finding himself in second place on the top row. Never mind, the 1 goes up, the 8 tries to block the 1, but once again that doesn't work out for Tim Matsuke. And the 1 actually gets such a good run that he nearly clears the 8 into turn 1. As the 91 might actually be able to push now the 1 past the 8, but actually decides to not push the 1 whatsoever. There's a lap car coming up. They are staying down low. I don't know why you're suddenly deciding that it's a good idea to stay down low. That just causes way too much mayhem. Always go to the top side if you're a lap car. The leaders have to go past. That's very tight between the 8 and the 99. But everyone so far is able to move past. And sure enough, that 1 is able to go down cleanly. By the way, the top side right now has 5 cars, and actually 2 of them are able to clear the bottom side. That means the 1 is now ahead of the 91, and the 8 is in third place now on the bottom side.
Everett Lane all by himself up top then. No one up there to give him a helping hand. And here comes the 10 of Brad Newman. About 2 car lengths back. Should suck up to him pretty quickly here. These cars punch a massive hole in the air, which makes it very easy to suck up to someone like Newman's just done now. And Matski will go to the outside, but Lane didn't want to push him. And instead, Newman's going to go with Matski, and Lane's going to go backwards here. And again, just making the wrong decisions at 24.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the battle plan is of the 24 right now. Every single time he gets around, instead of pushing the guy ahead of him, he just moves to the outside. We're probably going to see it once again here. Sure enough, moves out to the top lane. I really have no clue what Everett Lane is thinking going into these last 4 laps to make moves here. You're not going to make any moves alone on the top side. That's never going to work for you. You're always going to lose so much momentum. You can't regain that against the other cars on the bottom and the middle row. As we have another lap car coming up, they are staying up high, so that at least some good news for our leaders.
Adam Cole was number 5 in 14th place, going a 4th lap down. 11 cars still on the lead lap. 1 car lap down, that's Stephen Brown in the 84. Whose car actually looks pretty clean. If he was to get a caution, he'd get the lucky dog, get back on the lead lap as... contact in the background. Coles gets into Steven Sims and they crash once again. Caution comes out. Back to pacing here at Daytona. And, yeah.
I'm just gonna put this one here on Adam Cole. Cole, sorry. Because the 5 realizes he has the second pack coming up, but still just decides to drive down into the middle, and instead of moving up top, stays in the middle, and I'm not sure what really then happened there. I think he just drifted up to the 26. Let's actually see what really happened onto the replay. We go looking at the 24. There's the 5. So the first pack of leaders is going to go past very cleanly because he stays up top through 1 and 2. And then let's see, you're going to see there a few cars being single file, and then there's also one car that is a double file. There you have the 26. Actually, he's moving just up top and coming into turn 3. Yep, I would say that's on the 5, just moving up into the 26.
Good heads-up driving from Danson too to stomp on that brake pedal. The incident basically happened on his front bumper and he managed to avoid it. And he continues to keep that car out of trouble. And I dare say that he's going to be someone we're going to have to watch out for later on in this race. He's got a clean car. And he's being very smart how he goes about it. And that'll get him up into the top 10 now if that incident. Well, let's go to another break on the Global SimRacing Channel. When we come back, hopefully the run of the checkered flag will be about 35 laps when we come back. Welcome back to Daytona. Lap 166 of 200. The Daytona 500, brought to you by the Sim Racers for Mental Health. And it's been a tough old slog out there for most of these drivers. 2 hours and 46 minutes in. Still over 30 laps left to run. Lots and lots of cautions out there. Over the 10 mark now for this one. And the field will be led back to the green for the first time by Brad Newman here, with Garrett Maines to his outside as the pace car dives down. And we get ourselves back underway, and Maines immediately jumps down to the inside behind Newman. Matsky can't do the same because there's a Dimitri and Esiv-sized hole or car in the way of him filling that hole as they make their way through 1 and 2. And Everett Lane's going to clock the back of them. We've got 11 cars still on the lead lap after that last caution, as Maines now goes to the outside and Matsky will have to give him the push.
Oh, Iniciev, what are you doing? Nearly go to the apron to overtake the 10 on the inside there. I mean, at least the good thing of that last caution was that nobody for our top runners was affected by this. So, yeah, if you can take from that whatever you want to. I mean, it did hurt the chances of the 30, of the 6. So those guys probably are now also going to be out of this race, as they have already dropped quite a bit back on our top field. So everybody that is in this top pack right now, those 8 cars actually, they are going to be your last remaining contenders of this win for this Daytona 500.
Matsky clears Maines and jumps down in front of him. Everett Lane once again left with no one to help him. He's been in that situation way too many times in this race. Well, hopefully for his sake he'll rectify that for the end of the race and actually get someone to push him for once. He's the one doing all the pushing. He pushes them clearly outside, they drop down the inside, and he gets left out to dry with no one to help him. Inaceve and the 92 of Eddie Williams Jr. are working together nicely just in the background. Danson goes up to give them the push as well. So they'll crawl their way to the back of the lane in a moment's time. He's actually doing a pretty good job of staying put there on the outside with no one to push him.
You know, one thing I have to say, I'm actually surprised by the 30 and the 6. Ah, that 25 spins himself nearly out over the apron. Good save by Brian Tonk to keep it green and safe for everybody behind him. But what I'm surprised is that the 6 and the 30 were actually able to get back up to those top 8 cars on their own power, being about 2.5 seconds already back on that pack. So good job by them working together and moving themselves back up. Now we have to quickly on board with Brian Tong into turn 3, just a little bit on the apron, sucks himself to that inside, keeps it straight, keeps it together though, but that has dropped him out of the pack. Though I'm not sure if he's actually gonna be dropping back, because he's actually driving faster right now than Tim Matzke, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Brian John get back into this pack. There he is. He's moving extremely fast back along these guys, and he is back in it.
Back on board with Brian Tong here. You can see the speed differential for himself and the Krushka, close to 4 miles an hour. He goes to the outside. What's he do here? He's got a car in front of him. He's going to go and push Williams. And try to push him up to the back of the next car on the outside, which is all the way at the front. And Dimitri Anasiv is almost managed to push Lane clear of Matsky down on the inside. And they should complete that maneuver here on the extra turn 4, which they do. And the Lane goes down to the bottom, and in a sieve now the car left with no one to help.
Yeah, one thing that is really interesting about this pack is that there barely is any car without damage. This has really changed the dynamic of this whole pack because normally, like Brian Tong, you wouldn't be able to catch the pack again with such an overspeed just running on your own. So, yeah, I don't know, this really throws up a lot of questions going into these last 30 laps of this race, because quite honestly, if you can get an extremely well-timed run from the back of the pack, you might find yourself all of a sudden in winning contention just by being able to run past everyone with your own speed.
Someone that's very good at that I've seen a lot of is Matt Danson, we've talked about a number of times in this race. He's currently sat... Crazy. He's currently sat back in 7th place, biding his time. File. As we go on board with Danson, you can see the field in front of him. Start of this 140. He's been in the front pack a couple of times in this one, but he's spent most of the race just hanging out the back. And when the incidents occur, he slams on that brake pedal, gets that thing to a stop, and lets the incident clear itself before he makes his way through. Make sure he does not get involved, and he knows how to get it done. He's already won a Daytona 500 this year in another series that had about a 35 car split, very competitive. So definitely watch out for him. I think him, Mames and Inaceve are the three guys I'm watching here at the end of the race. Inaceve's been there all race long. Even with that damage, he's still holding his own. Mames has got an incredible R rating, and Matt Danson is very talented as well. So they're my three to watch here, Stefan.
Yeah, most definitely. I would also probably put in the 91 into that bag with Kevin McKenna. I don't think you have mentioned him. I think he also still has quite a good chance. He's saving his car right now, just staying back, staying out of the trouble. Right now sitting in 7th place. Also another good thing right now for these 10 lead pack cars is that the rest of the cars still running, those 4 cars that are damaged, they're actually running in a pack themselves. That is a 4-car pack. They're running themselves. They're running single file. They're not doing anything stupid. They're not doing anything crazy. They know what they have to do. And I hope they're all going to move to the top side and behave real nicely once the leaders come past them.
Everett Lane's got himself clear of both lanes. Haha, puns! No, I'm kidding, I don't mean to do that. And I already have myself for it. But he's got a pretty comfortable gap here. He's not got Matsky pushing him too much. And no one working on the outside either, so Everett Lane's just worked himself into a good spot finally as Mames and Inaceve almost all bang their way through the tri-oval. And everyone now is definitely just settled in. There's 23 laps to go. There's no reason to have a crash just yet. It's too early to make your move. Even guys to the back, like Pushka, Danson, McKenna, they can wait till 5 to go and then make their move. There's not many people in this field, so they can take them pretty wide and make that third lane work and push it through to the front, even if they are side by side in front of them. So nothing happening just yet. In a few laps, the race will kick off.
You know what? I just realized something. These guys have stopped all the same lap on that last pit stop. On the last caution. By the fuel runs we have seen in the first 60 lap green flag stint, I don't think that any one of these guys can make it till the end of the pit side,
It was up
the end of the
167,
race.
wasn't it? And this was with 36 laps. 35
Yeah.
laps.
35
Pretty
laps,
close.
but that was with clean cars, and they are all damaged right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if everyone still has to go into pit lane for a splash and dash. If we stay green, that is.
Definitely have to keep an eye on that then, and see if anyone makes that move to pit road.
So this might still get way more interesting than it is right now, because quite clearly this is still extremely wide open, and I think that might also be the reason why guys like Krushka, McKenna, Danson, Newman, and also there's one more car, Williams, are staying that far back from the other guys, because they can ride about 60% of the throttle and still keep up with the pack ahead of them. And that might be able to get them around to the checkered flag. So yeah, fuel games are most definitely on, it seems.
As Steve's got no help up top, but he's been managing to hold his own up there. I think the reason for that would be the inside line not driving flat out. A number of drivers trying to save that fuel. That could be why everyone's single file. Everyone further back is just saving their stuff, and maybe Everett Lane still isn't in a good spot, using all his fuel up to push everyone up, pull everyone else along, while the guys further back just lift off and cruise around. I just jumped on board with Danson to see what he's doing with his throttle percentage. Trying to have a listen, and we can listen to what Garrett Maines. Through the triangle, flat out for now. The into the corners you're expected to lift off, because that's where you don't want to be pushing. It does sound like he's not full throttle, at least. The RPM is definitely dropping on the dashboard in front of him. Oh, he gets turned! A caution's out, and we did not see how that one started because we were on board with him. Suddenly that car facing the wrong way. That's how quickly it can go wrong. Not even a sign that something was about to go wrong for Garrett Maines there, and finds himself in the outside wall.
And the cost of that was actually netcode between the 23 and the 25, which meant the 23 turned right into the right fender of the number 1 and caused all of that. Sadly, a few good cars there collected by that. One of them, Ernie Williams, who heavily into the inside wall, the 92, immediately retires his car. Obviously, with that track, that sadly also means that any fuel games are done and dusted with that. There's the incident. That was the contact. The one spins to the outside, and that was the 92. Barely squeezing by, but not quite. He got hit, sent to the outside wall, and then heavy into the inside wall. Immediately blew his engine. There he was. They're just barely getting tipped heavy into the outside wall, and then just look at that. Bam.
Very unfortunate for Ernie Williams to get involved in that one. Just got clipped, and yep. Clipped both walls extremely hard. A few drivers had lucky escapes and all that as well. 3 hours comes across on the clock as everyone dives down into pit road, with the exception of the man that used the most fuel ever at lane, and Matt Danson.
This is really interesting that both Lane and Danson stayed out. Danson, I understand, but Lane, I would actually be surprised if he's able to make it to the end with this safety car period. The last time we have seen a car be out on the in the wind for the whole stint was in ECF. He made 33 laps, I think I recall him doing in that first stint. And Everett Lane is right now on lap number 19. That means he has to do another 16 laps. Yeah, actually, he might be safe.
Just listening to the in-game, in-sim communication. Carrot Mains, a little bit peeved by that, as I'm sure he would be. You fight back from 5 laps down and you get taken out with 20 odd to go. Nothing you could do about it either. And let's go. What do you think, Stefan? Are we going to get to the green flag? Are we going to get it to the checkered? Are we going to see another caution? I mean, there's only 10 competitive cars left now. Brennan Jackson gets back onto the lead lap. Well, maybe 11 competitive cars. He's not got too much damage either. Let's go to one more quick break. This should be our final one of the day. The run to the checkered flag coming up live on the Global SimRacing Channel right after this. Welcome back to the world's center of racing, Daytona International Speedway, for the conclusion of the sim races for mental health, Daytona 500. 15 laps to go when we come across the stripe here to take the restart, hopefully the final restart of the day. The caution count well over 10 by now. And for the first time today, Matt Danson finds himself on the front row of the grid. The reason for that, himself and Everett Lane stayed out. Everett Lane might be in trouble in terms of fuel because he was leading the pack for most of that stint. Danson was back in the field and saving. He should be fine. Everyone else came down to pit road. The field has been shaken up a bit. Let's get this one back underway as Everett Lane jumps on the throttle. Green flag back in the air. And Lane gets a little bit loose off the start there. The tyres offering up
Three
not
wide
much
in the
grip
back.
as they go 3 wide behind them. A big move from the 25 immediately gets turned. Can he save it? No, he can't. Brad Newman's involved. 5-6 cars go around. Caution immediately back out. Come on. I mean, there's no reason to be that aggressive. 3 seconds after the green flag flies.
Yeah, I don't know what Brian Tong was thinking to go 3 wide there, and then also the 84 just kept moving up. Both of them were forcing that issue, and sure enough, it happened, and we're back on the caution. 6 more cars probably out of this race with that. And one of them actually, I think, was one of the good cars. Yes, one of them was actually the 10 of Brad Newman. Oh, and also Elisiev was in that. I didn't realize that Krushka was able to somewhat avoid all of that damage. But he has some damage on his car. There you can see the 25 going to the middle. 84 now starts to push up, and there is the contact. And a little bit overcorrected by the 25, and then nobody behind had any chance of surviving that one.
So we'll try it again then for this restart. And then you can just see there the aggression definitely got turned up and it came unstuck quite quickly. And we'll try it again. Hopefully though, a little bit more restraint shown early on. Now the onboard from Newman, you see the 25 almost saves it, and then Newman just got into it and couldn't check up quick enough, and wasn't too much anyone could do about that after the initial contact was made. And the guys at the front, so just having a look, who's got damage? Top 4 are clean. Krushka, Danius and Nasiv, we know he's got damage to his front bumper. Brian Tong's got a little nick on the right rear, but otherwise relatively unscathed. Brad Newman, big damage after that crash. Who pits? Top 4 stay out. Krushka, Nasiv, Tong, Newman, Jackson all come down a pit road.
Not surprised to see Danson and Lane staying out. Tim Matsuke, as I said, also out there. McKenna, so yeah, about half and half, I would say, of the guys that would really want to still count in that winner potential circle. Obviously, we have to wait and see what happens now with the pace of Iniseev, Tong, Newman, and especially Krushka, who sort of was able to avoid all of that, but I'm pretty sure that he has picked up some damage and probably is going to repair that right now.
Have we got an official caution count that we can get up? I'd be interested to see it.
I think this is 16, if I am having this correctly in my brain.
I'm gonna just go and do a quick old Google search here. Daytona 500 most cautions. We get these races from time to time. I mean, we've seen it in the real world, haven't we? I mean, even this year, the Clash was an absolute wreckfest. We've seen Daytona 500s with torn up cars winning because, like, there's been 10 cars left at the end. It's just the product of Super Speedway Racing. It's the smallest mistake that on any other track in the world goes unnoticed even, can cause a multi-car wreck at a track like this.
Well, either way, we right now have Everett Lane leading ahead of Matt Danson, Tim Matsuke 3rd place, Kiefer McKenna 4th, Brad Newman in 5th, Brad Jackson 6th, William Krushka 7th place for him, Brian Tong right now being scored in 8th place, sorry. with Stephen Brown scored in 9th, and 10 cars are right now on the lead lap. The last one of those is actually Dimitri in his CF. No, actually other way around, in his CF in 9th, with Stephen Brown in 10th. And we have 3 more cars that are being scored. Adam Coles right now in 11th with Joshua Meyer in 12th. And last but not least, it's Greg Maines in 13th, but he's already in pit lane for about 11 minutes. Biggest mover right now in this field of drivers is, I think, actually tied. No, it's actually Stephen Brown, 22nd up to 9th place. That is 13 places that he has gained right there.
The most cautions ever in the Daytona 500 in real life is 16. 2011 that occurred. 12 times there were 0 cautions, although the most recent time that happened was 1971. The most caution laps is 60 in 1968, and that 2011 race where I had 16 cautions. So, we're breaking records today. But what it does mean is it's going to give us a grandstand finish because the field's condensed here for a 10-lap sprint to the end. So it has its positives.
So, yeah, it seems like that we will have 10 cars racing here, sorry, 12 cars racing with Greg Maines still in pit lane. I don't think that he will drive out again. I don't know, who do we want to still call in this potential winner circle? I would say Lane for sure, Danson for sure, Matske, McKenna still in it. Newman is a question mark. Krushka, as said already, question mark. But I think he didn't pick up too much damage, so he should be still well in that potential winner circle. The big question mark also is that number 25 got a blue car down there on the high side. He has damage, but he has showed that he most definitely still has a lot of pace left in that 25.
Will this be the final restart of this race? No green white checkered attempts, which means the caution flies after lap 195, I believe it is. Or 196 if the caution flies on then, or afterwards we will finish under yellow. We've got 6 laps to make it before that cutoff occurs. Field on the hands, Everett Lane, dancing to the outside, Matske pushing, green flag back in the air, and a very good restart for Matt Danson, but he's got no one to help him up top. It's 3 cars breaking away by about 3 to 4 car lengths. Matske on the inside pushing Lane. Brad Newman now starting to suck up to the back of them. Newman, I believe, took a spare car, so he's still in contention in this one as Danson gets down to the inside. Top 4 now single file as Newman takes his run and runs with it to the outside. Keeper McKenna's got a clean car in the background too in 5th place. William Krushka and Brandon Jackson. William Krushka's got clean too, so top 6 all clean. Krushka and McKenna starting to try and close their way back up for the top 4.
So it really does seem like that the last few cars that are going to battle for this win are the top 6 with Lane, Matske, Danson, Newman, McKenna and Krushka. So let's see how this one is going to play out for them.
Danson goes to the high side. Going to be a big push from Brad Newman, the 2 Australians in the field, hooking up nicely on the outside there. Maybe working together as a result of that patriotic camaraderie, shall we say, as they go through 3 and 4, coming to get the momentum out of the corner to make it work. As McKenna and Krushka now coming up on these guys. This reminds me of Talladega. I think it was 2011 actually, Talladega, where Jimmy Johnson won it in about 4 different tandem drafts, came across the line, took at about 0.2 of a second. Seeing a bit of a similar occurrence today. 3 tandem packs as now Krushka decides he doesn't want to do any tandem racing. He's going to go push that outside line, and McKenna's going to go to push the inside line. So 2 rows of 3, 6 cars left to fight for the win. 7th place is 2 seconds off the lead. That is Brian Tong and Enesive as they come across to take lap 194 this time by 7 to go.
Two by two, racing for the lead there between Danson and Lane, as Adam Cole seems to have stopped his car again on the back straight. Hopefully that's not going to bring out a caution once these guys are going to drive past. With lap 194 quickly coming to the halfway point already.
Lane and Matsky doing a good job on the inside to keep themselves clear of the outside line here. And now Matsky goes to the top, but wrong time to do it because there's no one up there to make it work. Danson and Newman have fallen backwards. McKenna and Krishka have filled the hole on the inside, so Matsky is now stuck on the top line. Danson now getting some of that draft effect, claws his way back up to the bumper of the number 8 machine across the start finish stripe, lap 195 on the board. One more lap before the next flag will end it, as Everett Lane doing just what he needs to do. He should be fine on fuel now after having another caution since that decision to stay out. I think that's probably what he was betting on.
Tim Matsky gets himself not clear of that 24, so he still has to remain on that high line. I think right now the high line is actually stronger between the 8 and the 30 of Matsky and Danson. At least they're looking more organized than the 24 and the 91 down below. By the way, we have 4 Chevys right now racing for that lead. Actually 5 Chevys, 6 Chevys, so all the cars that are still left here in this lead pack are all Chevys. So most definitely no Toyota or Ford are going to win this one.
Strength in numbers. There's Danson. See if he can push Matsky clear down this back straight away. Don't know if he's quite going to be able to do it. He didn't quite get a fantastic run off turn number 2. And Matsky will stay locked side by side with Everett Lane and McKenna as Danson says see you later and goes down to the inside, making no inroads up top with Matsky. And Matsky's going to have to tuck down behind Danson now. Lap 197. 4 laps to go here at Daytona.
By the way, of the 11 cars that are still running, 2 of them are Toyotas, 1 of them is a Ford, and the rest is all Chevys still in the race. And by the way, not counting Garrett Maines in that one, because he's still on pit lane. So yeah, probably 13th is going to go to him, as once again, a big push on the top side. Now it is Danson getting pushed by Matsky. Once again, they're not being able to clear that one.
See if Matsky can get a better push going than Danson can get on him. See whether Kudas Krushka want to help here. The inside of the outside as McKenna is hooked up beautifully to the back of the lane. Does not become separated at all around this 2.5 mile racetrack with 3 laps to go now. The inside looking very strong as McKenna takes a bit of a bobble on the approach to turn 1 and just loses a little bit of ground to the rear bumper as they almost slide up into each other through turn 1. Here comes the momentum for the outside as Brad Newman gets there as well. Matt Danson's going to clear the inside. And the number 30 goes to the lead of the race. Down the back straightaway now. Danson leads for the first time in a commanding spot. Can Newman push Matsky clear? He can't. They're going to go backwards through 3 and 4. As we come to the start-finish stripe. 2 laps to go at the Daytona 500.
And interestingly enough, the 10 dropped the 8. Now the 24 comes up top. So it's going to be the 30 and the 10 hooking up against the 24 and the 8. Let's see who is going to be doing this one better. Newman, very high there. Nearly side drafting there. The 24 door-to-door nearly contact between those two. A little bit wobbly behind the 30 and the 10 that loses them a lot of momentum that are after turn 2. That means 24 has cleared them. Maybe even the 8 of Matsky. No, he's not able to clear them. So Matsky now leading the top lane with Krushka right behind him.
One more time around this 2.5 mile racetrack there here in Daytona Beach. In Daytona International Speedway, 2x2, the top 6 in lockstep as they come across the start-finish stripe, white flag in the air. It's Everett Lane at the line by 0.005 of a second from Tim Matsky on the outside. What can Matt Danson do? And William Krushka, second row behind them as McKenna dives down to the inside behind Brad Newman. The outside loses some of its momentum. 2 cars on the top against 3 on the bottom. Danson trying to find a way through in the middle, but there's no way through as Lane drives that car as close to the door of Matsky as he can. Matsky with a run down the back straight into turn number 3 with a big push for the number 6 of Krushka. 2 lapped cars stay out of the way up top. It's going to be side by side. Down the tri-oval they come. Side by side, door to door for the lead of the race. Photo finish at the line. It's going to be the number 24 Everett Lane by 0.11 of a second. William Krushka home in third. And that is about as good a finish as you can ask for.
Yeah, 6 cars pushing there extremely hard for the win. Everett Lane being your winner here today. I just think it's quite fitting that the 24 wins the Daytona 500. There we go, on to the replay probably once again of that replay to show you exactly how close the margin there was between the 24 and the 8 of Tim Matzke.
Yeah, so those lap cars did a fantastic job staying out of the way. And then Danson did a fantastic job pushing Everett Lane to the start-finish line. And the move down the track to try and slow the momentum came a bit too late for Matsky. Door-to-door contact coming just after the start-finish line.
Gonna see it now from the helicopter shot here. Perfect finish. And that is how close 11/1000 of a second are.
Fantastic conclusion then to the Sim Racers for Mental Health Daytona 500. Everett Lane doing his victory celebrations as we go to a break, and when we come back we'll have the official results for you here at Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, a thrilling conclusion of the Sim Racers Mental Health Daytona 500. Victory margin in the end, 0.11 of a second, 0.011. Everett Lane to Tim Matsky, and then less than a tenth covering the top 4 with William Krushka 3rd and Matt Danson 4th. Brad Newman came home in 5th in the end. Keith McKenna took 6th, and Brian Tong 7th. Dimitri Anasiv 8th. Top 10 rounded out by Brendan Jackson and Stephen Brown.
Joshua Meyer will be in 11th place. Adam Coles will be scored in 12th place in the variant after blowing up his engine. By the way, that's already the first car that didn't finish this race. Garrett Maines number 1 in 13th, Ernie Williams 14th, 15th goes to Steven Sims, Jake Collins 16th, Jacob Prince 17th, Andrew Farnias in 18th, Alexander Konyak in 19th, and 20th went to Lawrence Shaughnessy.
21st across the line, Steve Rada, James Waterman, Dennis Moore, Kelly Thompson, Selby Hands, rounding out the rest of the 25 car field for this one. Joining us in the comments box, Tim Matsky, second place today, about as close as you could come without winning it. Are you happy with that result?
Hello, first of all. Obviously, I think with being 11 thousandths down to the leader in the Daytona 500, you're never really going to be happy, are you? It was definitely a lot of fun in that race, really intense the last laps. I feel like not having a huge pack at the end made it a bit better even because it was a little bit more coordinated and less stupid moves. Like you could actually like plan a bit and position yourself, and everybody was kind of working together. That was nice, and therefore it's also really nice to not have a green-white checkered finish and finish it properly. Congrats to Everett, and thanks to Matt for the amazing push. I think it was Matt. Oh no, it was William actually. Thanks.
Yeah, there was some great pushing there at the end. Finished the race off very strong. Your thoughts on the amount of cautions we had in that race? It was a very stop-start affair. Did that do much to sort of throw your rhythm out, so to speak?
Yeah, kinda. I was involved in quite a few crashes actually. Always were able to avoid, or was able to avoid it, so I didn't have to take that fast repair that we had. So I still had it left for the last pit stop, and I took it, and definitely helped because 6 others, I think, took it as well and still had it. But yeah, obviously at some point after some cautions you just feel like, can we not just get some laps in now to get forward in the race? But yeah, as there were more cautions, also more opponents drop out. That's like the good side, if you want to say. But yeah, it's sometimes better to have a longer green flag run. It started off quite well, but then it somehow we got into the caution breeds caution rhythm.
Yeah, you did. It was a bit of a slog in the middle. You had a very good run at the start of the race, about 60 laps green, and then it all fell apart for a little while. Fantastic finish nonetheless. Maybe a contender for the iRacing top 10 highlights. Top 4, 700ths per second. Doesn't get much closer than that. Looking forward for the rest of the this season, speaking out against mental health and in support of it, are you going to be running any more races in this?
Or if the time allows, I hope there are going to be more races. I actually just got to know this today, and it's a very nice thing for charity as well, and having great time on track as well. The time suits us very good here or very well in Germany. So I'm looking forward to more races. I hope there are more to come.
Yeah, plenty more to come. There's one in a couple of weeks. The truck's at Talladega.
Oh.
Yeah, that should be a fun one.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, anyone would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, to Joshua actually. He was also in this race. He was running a different livery though. Same. He's also from our team, from Manatee. He actually made the call for me to take the fast repair when I needed to take it, and it worked out brilliantly. So thanks to him, and it was also very enjoyable to have him in Discord, and also some of our team members were watching, so that's always nice. Thanks for that. And also, yeah, for the commentators, it's always nice to have a stream with commentators, and you're doing a very good job from what I've heard, so thanks.
Thank you very much. Hopefully get to talk to you after the next race. Thanks for joining us up in the booth.
Yeah.
That was Tim Matsky, our second place finisher And I think that'll about do us for our broadcast today here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Thank you to the organisers, William Krischke and the SimRacers for Mental Health Organisation. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen as well. And got to thank as well Juna Londe, who provides the wonderful music. You can see the screen for how to get hold of more of her awesome work too. Thanks to the team today, Sean and Stefan. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including our upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can see it on the screen right now as well. Or check out our social media on Twitter at GSRC Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_gram. If you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at gsrc.store, nby.com, the link in the description below. Make sure you head over to our YouTube page, give us a like and a subscribe as well. Next race, as I mentioned, for this series is Shine MSD 250 trucks at Dega, I do believe. Maybe Daytona, don't quote me on it, but they're at Daytona, not Dega. My bad, but still trucks at Daytona, that should be good. We have other upcoming races for other series listed on the screen too. Check them out, mark them in your calendar. From all of us here in the booth, thanks for joining us, and until next time, race clean, race hard, we'll see you on the track.